Kuihman had an interview with Brianna Wu today. He's coming in to talk to us about it. Kuihman, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm alright.
Nice. What the fuck? Your Quiggler isn't quiggling. What happened?
Oh yeah, it has been quiggling in the stream for ages. I didn't mention anything, but I noticed it wasn't quiggling.
Unfortunate. Well,
Did it defer to the old one?
No, it's just not. It used to quiggle, okay? It used to quiggle around, side to side. Yeah, so how'd you feel about that conversation overall?
Yeah, I think it went well.
Is there anything you wish?
Yeah,
is there anything you wish you would have brought up that you didn't?
I think the Taylor N stuff you mentioned, right? That would probably have been a good angle, but I just didn't even really know that Brianna Wu had anything to do with Taylor N's. So
yeah, I think that Taylor Lorenz, Keffels, and Brianna Wu were pretty tight at one point. I'm pretty sure, right. Pretty confident.
Yeah, I died. If they are connected, then yeah, that probably would have been a good angle because obviously that reporting is insane.
Yeah, she's just like it was just totally, I guess, totally sweeping before we use that term for Keffels. It was wild.
Yeah, I mean, did you have anything specific to talk about on the video?
Yeah. I mean, a couple things. Do you think you're going to end up talking to them again, or Brianna again?
I can't imagine Brianna's going to want to talk to me again. Is she? I mean, she was close to kicking me a couple times, I think. So
I feel like that went so. I mean, unless it gets dramatically different in the last 15 minutes of the conversation, I feel like that went so poorly. I would imagine they feel like they would have to talk to you again.
Really? What, to try and get back, or?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think she can do it without spurking out. Like, there's so many. Like, she is like, she's a lolcow. She had a thread. She's one of the oldest threads on Kiwi Farms. She's a full blown. You know, she will just spurg out if she's pressed on something she's a bit touchy on.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how predictable the patterns were, because before we sat down to this video, Chaeiry was talking about it. We were watching a little bit of your video, and she was like, every time Brianna's wrong on something, she's going to go to trauma, drugs and addiction, or policy. She was like, she named like all of the things, and then just perfectly every single time it was one of those things.
She just machine gunned them out. I was just like, literally, I couldn't believe my luck when she just literally, she must have not have seen any coverage I've ever done of her, and just doesn't realize that it's like a whole joke to like anyone that doesn't like her, that she always just says these three things over and over again. And so she came to this conversation, just totally machine gunned them out. So it was great for me. But
okay, I'm back.
Oh, welcome back. Kuihman's here now, Chaeiry. Asking him some questions.
Kuihman, okay, please explain how this started, because it seemed like Connor is supposed to be the moderator, but apparently it was supposed to be between you and him initially.
Okay, so what happened was Connor posted on Twitter. He put out like a tweet saying, I can't remember. Let me find it 1 second. It said, it was a screenshot of my video. Final Keffels defenders search for excuses. And it's him and Brianna Wu talking about Keffels and saying how hard her life is because she's an addict and all this shit. And Connor's tweet was, Kuihman and the Queefers have a permanent invite to bring their issues to me on a public live stream. Thank you for not making me look ugly in the thumbnail. And then, with me blocked, Brianna replies to it and says, @Kuihman can reach out anytime. And then one of Brianna's friends from her little group chat of trans people was posting, I basically use Kuihman as a shit test for if anyone in his orbit is a total terrible person or some retarded shit like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so it was that Olive Oath person. If you've ever seen their tweets, they're around with all the transes, the problematic transes they call themselves, I think.
What's the name? Olive Oath?
Yeah, some shit like that.
Oh no, I've seen that name on Twitter.
Yeah, she posted like some tweet that was like, Anytime I hear someone's in Kuihman's orbit, I assume they're a complete terrible person. Like, what's my orbit? Like, who are you even talking about here? I assume it's just Sleepy. I don't know.
Could be me if they're DGG, or who knows.
But yeah, and then so obviously Brianna called me out and was like, "Oh yeah, come on anytime with me blocked." I assume she didn't think I would take that up, or didn't think I would see it. But obviously, I immediately messaged Connor, and I was like, okay, when am I coming on? I was like, okay, give me a week, and started making the video.
Oh, yeah, so
oh, go ahead, Chaeiry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, Jstlk, because you were gonna mention like for the last week you were gonna MIA.
Yeah, I laughed because I messaged you. I don't know if I said this precisely, but I was like, everything good? You haven't seemed to be streaming much. You're like, I'm balls deep on this Brianna Wu video. Not your phrasing precisely, but that was basically what you said. I was like, what the fuck's going on that you're not streaming? And yeah, it was. So I just thought that was funny that also that she showed up without, it seems like she said like not watching your video. Like, it seemed like Connor watched it, wrote notes on it, and then she showed up without watching it. And then she was willing to.
But she was saying like it was defamatory and shit, and was like signaling to a lawsuit. And I'm like, okay, where's the lie?
And I don't know how she watched the whole Keffel saga and decided that the Kiwi Farms defense was a defense.
Well, the thing is that
you just that's crazy. Any of the points I'm making?
Yeah, on their recording the other day, Mutegate literally said to her, he's like, just because it came from Kiwi Farms, it doesn't necessarily discredit the evidence. And she's like, yeah, that's true. It's like now all of a sudden when it's back on her, she's back to the typical Kiwi Farms isn't a reliable resource. I didn't even use Kiwi Farms for this, by the way. I did use archives of the lolcow wiki, but most of the stuff was Reddit, finding it through Reddit posts and going to the web archives and stuff like that. So it wasn't even really Kiwi Farms focused, but I'll defend the Kiwi Farms sourcing anyway, because I mean, who gives a fuck?
Well, it's like I can totally jive with somebody saying, "Oh, that's from Kiwi Farms and that's fake." Okay, if you want to say it's fake, go ahead. But like, say what the reason is. You can't just say it's from Kiwi Farms. You can be like, I think Kiwi Farms are like, they're assholes and they do fake screenshots like this, and that's a fake
if they say it's fake, then you can go, okay, well here's the web archive. No, it's not fake. So what's your excuse now? Like, but you can't do that. They're just like, well, it's Kiwi Farms. It's Kiwi Farms.
It's just from Kiwi Farms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got another one.
And
Chaeiry?
also, because you said that she jumped on after, Connor said that's an open invitation to you. She's like, yeah, and added you even though you're blocked. Do you know when she blocked you?
I can't remember. I think she did like there was a wave of blocks. I think me and Bugsquan got blocked at the same time. So I don't know if she was blocking for some specific reason or if it was because of my video. Him? I'm not sure. Me and Bugsquan, just a guy from Spicy Chat.
Oh, okay.
So I think she might have done like a block wave of just like blocking maybe like people from Child's community or something, or after a bad appearance. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Did you shout out your research team? I saw Sleepy was in here.
News team. Or
I know Sleepy was in here, and I think the Raylan person is that.
He calls them diggers.
Yeah. They're
diggers.
Those.
I was basically just like sitting in Discord acting them every couple of days, just like, okay, here's a list of clips of Brianna Wu I need now while I write this. So.
Yeah, you were down to the wire because you released a video like probably within, I want to say, 7 to 10 hours of asking me for a clip.
Literally. I was editing it like 24 hours ago now. So I was like just finishing it up. I was like one of the last clips that I just couldn't find, and ended up doing it, thankfully.
Okay, but back to the Connor thing, because Connor called you out to be able to come on and state your issues or whatever. So what was the point of him in this conversation if most of the issues are towards Brianna Wu? Do you have issues with Connor, or is it really just he was an opportunity to get to, have a back and forth with Wu?
Wait, yeah, well, that was basically my mindset was, I mean, I think Connor says like stupid shit, but I don't think Connor's being like dishonest. I think Connor's just genuinely thinks, oh no, Brianna's my friend. She's a good person. But with Brianna, I can see such a track record of her like lying about shit that she obviously does know the truth on, because she was like, with her degree, like it's like you can't accidentally say you've got a degree when you don't. That doesn't happen. That's not a thing. So that's like obviously a lie. So you can see the track record there. But with Connor, it's just like, I mean, I just disagree with him on stuff, and like, I don't have that much. Just disagreeing with someone isn't that fun.
Okay.
Is it never possible to misspeak that you have a degree?
Misspeak how many times though? Yeah.
Not that many times.
Hey,
I wanted to ask.
What degree was she pretending to have? Yeah, but which one?
Journalism.
Several different degrees.
And several different ones.
I think it was something. One of them said psychology.
Dual degree.
One was journalism and poli-sci.
Yeah, she said initially. She said, when I was getting my degree, I learned that psychologically people do something, and then she says, like the next year, she's like, when I was doing my degree, I learned blah 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 about copyright law, and then a few years later, she's like, when I was doing my double major in investigative journalism and political science, so that was and then it changed to just investigative journalism, I think, afterwards. So she dropped the double major a couple years later.
I wanted to ask specifically. So when you did you do this intentionally, or did it just work out? And you maybe did you have chatters mentioning something? Because you're asking her about this, and she's like, "No, I misspoke." And then you had "Oh, there's this podcast as well." And then she was like, "Oh, well, I guess I just don't remember that."
No, I was remembering that on the fly. I was just sitting. I've got a few notes in front of me, but not crazy notes. And I was just remembering stuff. I was like, wait, but no, that was a lie. Because I mean, I should have probably had more prep for the actual debate, to be honest, but I focused on the video more. Because when someone's willing to lie to you, it's just so fucking annoying in a conversation. Because it'll be they'll say some insane shit "Oh yeah, this guy's a ward of the state." And it's is he? Is he actual? I haven't seen this guy in I haven't seen anything recent about this guy, so he might be a ward of the state. I don't know that. And then you look it up, it's wait, this guy's in the next season of Sam Hyde's TV show. There's no way this guy's a ward of the state.
Bro, the best part of that was, this is the interaction, okay? She's like, that guy is now a ward of the state. So obviously somebody thought he was a problem. And then your response was, and she was like, oh, as far as I know, as far as I remember. And it's bro, is that all it took? Was just the for her to start backtracking immediately?
Yeah, just started folding. It's well, okay, this didn't seem like you really know what you're talking about here.
Also, the Yahoo article. Can I pull that up here? If you can switch over to my browser.
I think I spoke.
Oh, did you? I am positive that this is just a poorly sourced article, and this is fake. This is not fake. What? The A++ coder guy. I'm almost positive. I feel like the A++ coder guy is not the guy they talk about down here. Maybe he could be, but from what I remember, this was the comedy sketch guys who they're talking about, and they said it was a joke.
Yeah, that's what I believe as well. Yeah, I was trying to say it to Connor. I think I was trying to say I don't think that the tech guy and the comedy guy with the joke guy were the same person. But I mean, yeah, I'd have to dig through the report and
you'd have to go back through it. But anyway, I feel like. Can we?
But there are articles that specifically point out. I believe there's one. Was it from? Something gamesindustry.biz or some shit? That was the site that was talking about how the names are redacted, but you can identify different people in the stories from the history and stuff like that. So I mean, it's widely known that this was in. If you look at articles of it, you will find out. Even just articles, you will find out that Jan Rankowski was part of that report, and so yeah, it doesn't. It's not really material.
Yeah, I don't know if you probably weren't watching a lot of my stuff, but I did all of this. I read a ton of this report, especially all the stuff around. You can go to the report and you just search Boston, right? The Boston stuff just gives you all the shit around Brianna Wu.
Kuihman asked him why he read this report.
Oh no, I heard because he was arguing with Spurgs and DGG. That's why he also came in Spicy Chat one day and was like, "Hey guys, have you got any proof Brianna Wu's trans?"
Did I say that?
I think so. Yeah.
So. I didn't say that asking the question. I was I know this is here, but the internet's
I know. Yeah. You were saying to argue with people in DGG to prove it to them.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even. It's just it's not even that it's the autistic thing, right? It's you're just saying something that's wrong.
No, I'm right.
Now I'm annoyed. I'm
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just I'm just annoyed.
Saying something's wrong.
Yes, precisely.
No, I didn't really know who Brianna Wu was until she sort of came into the orbit. I don't really remember Gamergate or anything like that. I think he was actually touching grass at that time. But randomly people would come in chat and be like, dude, she's not even trans. She's she's getting all of you. And I was actually confused. I was like, wait, is she trans? And then people told me asking is rude. And then you just get completely mind fucked. I don't know what the right thing to do there is.
It's funny as well because she's got old tweets where she's saying shit what was it? It's I feel so powerful at the workplace, being a 6'4" woman towering over all the men. They can't handle it. They're fragile masculinity. Yeah, it's like fucking crazy. When she's like not answering, was like so secretive about whether she was trans or not for years, and then you see like those tweets in hindsight now that she's said in public and Keffel's Capital Ranch lover that she's
yeah. And now because of like the fallout between her and Keffel's, there's like the recent Keffel tweets or whatever. Is it recent or was it last year where Keffel's was like, she won't even admit that she's trans. Like, how are you going to be a trans activist and never even...
This is
like
recently leaked DMs, I believe.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it was something that she said last year, but privately. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I think that was the leaked... was that the Deorio, like, leaked group chat DMs? Is that where that's from? Asking Kuihman if he knows.
I don't remember.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I want to say off the top of my head, I think that's where it's from. Because I remember I made a post that it's like, wait, no, you know what? It might have been a tweet directly, Chaeiry. Because I think I quote tweeted it and said, like, is she outing Brianna? Is Brianna Wu out publicly? Like, or is this just like...
Oh, wait, maybe I do remember that. Yeah, I feel like I remember you tweeting that. Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know if Brianna Wu had come out... It was close. It was less than, like, 6 months if it had happened. But I didn't know if Brianna Wu had come out publicly yet. Or at least it wasn't. It was like tipster's pansexuality, okay? It was like technically public but not well known.
I think I saw a video, because obviously my algorithm's fucked now. It's like all Brianna Wu hate content because I've been searching Brianna Wu's name 100 times a day for the last 4 days. But I saw a Mad at the Internet Null segment, the KF owner, like 8 months ago, I want to say, where he went over the messages from Catboy Ranch where she was saying she was trans. Maybe I had a coming out segment for Brianna Wu.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Makes some sense.
Was there anything else interesting in your research that you didn't really feel like you could put in the video?
Yeah, there's one. Okay. So this is just funny. It's so funny. So because she's confirmed that she's trans, and she also said that she was the first trans person at Mississippi, at the University of Mississippi, in the Keffel server. It lends a lot of credibility, or authenticity, I should say, not credibility, authenticity, to these posts on a University of Mississippi student message board from the late 2000s, 2010 sort of time, before Gamergate, before she was known and hated, where people are talking about basically the first trans person on the University of Mississippi campus, who apparently had a total breakdown in the student newspaper place because they wouldn't accept her comic or something, and was like doing, like, they described it as Buffalo Bill type dances in their window with a terrified looking dog and all these sorts of crazy things. So, well, you know, you can't confirm that any of those things specifically happened. None of those claims are proven true. It does kind of suggest that those posts are actually, at least those people are trying to refer to Brianna. Even if maybe the stories are embellished or false. I don't know. So I don't want to get sued. She was already threatening that. So who knows? But it does lend authenticity to the account.
Yeah, I also have no idea. Like, I've read those stories. I have no idea what the, what would you call it? Like, the chain of custody is on those messages. If those are coming, like, I don't know if those were available and able to be scraped off of a University of Mississippi message board, or if they were like
they're on the Internet Archive. The original website is archived.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, seems possible then. Sitch and Adam referred to Brianna as trans on their stream with her there a couple months ago.
That was with SFO as well. Yeah, that was funny. She did not look happy. Like
that they referred to her as trans, or she didn't look happy about
that? Yeah, her face dropped when they said it. She was like, yeah. It was very funny.
Jesus. What did I want to say? It's about the research team. Oh, there's something along the stuff you didn't put in. Oh, one of the things just in terms of her being like absolutely terrified that I thought was like a bit interesting. It's not like positive of anything, but it was how she, do you remember the stuff about her like pretending to move? That like have you seen any of this?
Yeah, so
that she said she was like fleeing
on that same Sitch and Adam show that was just mentioned in chat. Them and SFO actually did press her on that, and her story is now not that she was like gone from her home for ages. She was doing a rotation where she was going, staying at hotels at friends and then coming home to do video interviews. So every time we saw her, she was at home, but every time we couldn't see her, she wasn't at home.
Okay.
Which obviously you can't really argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can't. All right. Do you think? Do you think? I hope this goes like wide. I don't know if it'll go wide. Do you think you can get Nicholas to pick it up?
He said he's watching the debate tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know if he's gonna watch it on stream or if he just meant he's gonna.
What do you mean you don't know if he can? He said tipster in this conversation.
Oh yeah, true. I did that. I've got to say, if there's one thing I do that's bad faith as fuck, it's doing stuff like that. I mentioned tipster because I'm like, okay, I want to point out to commentary people how bad Brianna Wu is, so I'm going to mention tipster. And in my video, I'm like, okay, I want DGGers to realize how bad Brianna Wu is, so I'm going to play a clip of Destiny saying something that applies to Brianna Wu.
I think it's so funny. Tipster is a virtue signal at this point.
It is. It's in-group signaling. Absolutely.
I wonder if, I just wonder if this will go wide, that this like interview happened and like how bad it went. Specifically, I think this, you should also edit this up. Just if you edit it and you start to make it like very obvious, because it's not super obvious on your stream. You don't always say something right away that you're getting muted, but like the times where you're getting muted it's pretty,
it's fucking funny. It's so insane that I would start talking and then she would interrupt me. And then I would interrupt her interruption, and then I would get muted. It's like, come on.
Did you see me point that out? Like, I actually went back to the start of the sentence, and I'm like, let's see who starts talking here. And it's like, oh, it's Kuihman who starts talking. She interrupts. He tries to keep talking, and then she goes, can I finish? And it's like...
Yeah, it's crazy.
Bro.
Absolutely insane.
And turns to Connor is like, can we move this along?
Oh, yeah. You're, like, trying to go through the degree stuff, and it's like, she just had you muted. You haven't a single time agreed that like on any premise. There's not been a single set of agreements, and she's just like, after having you muted for 2 minutes, is like, can we move this along? Like, no,
yeah,
I haven't. I'm disagreeing.
I literally, I cannot remember. I don't know of a single time she's been pressed on any of this stuff across the entire last 10 years. I don't know of any time that's happened personally. I don't remember it ever happening. I was very invested in Gamergate when I was 15, and I don't remember seeing that. So, I mean, I don't want to suck my own dick, but it does feel like a pretty huge conversation.
It feels good. The sad thing is I think people should be able to move past stuff, but it's like the weird, it's the kind of lying that happens.
It's not recognizing that you did something bad.
It's not admitting any kind of mistake.
Lying about the details and then continuing to do the same thing. Like, there's no... Like, you can keep bringing stuff up if there's still instances of her doing essentially the same stuff, right? Like, then you can say, okay, we did it 10 years ago, you did it 6 years ago, and you did it 1 year ago. So are you going to stop doing this, or what's the deal here? Is this or are we going to see another one next year?
That's really the concerning thing.
My favorite is when she's like, listen, I could be wrong, and if I am, I'll be the first one to admit it. As she is fighting you tooth and nail to shut the fuck up. Trying to prove her wrong.
So was it? Oh, yes. That was a funny moment. I was just going to say that, just to go back to the previous thing, she, like, the Kevils thing is just another indication, right? That this was going to happen, because it's just the same thing. Like, the Kevils thing was a Gamergate thing, where it was like somebody was clearly in the right, somebody was clearly in the wrong, and through basically just media savvy, it got flipped entirely. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm obviously pro Gamergate, so that's how I interpret it. Well, Gamergate is a lot more. It's a lot more.
You're forced to cede this ground that there was harassment. So I'd say there was harassment on both sides. That's what I always say. There was harassment on both sides. There's always harassment in the big internet controversy because there really was, and it's so fucking dishonest to pretend that Gamergate was like, she calls it a hate group in her congressional ad. It wasn't a fucking hate group. It's not the Proud Boys. It's not it's not the KKK. It was a fucking internet controversy where a bunch of people were shitposting on Twitter and saying insane shit to each other. This happens every other week. I even see Brianna saying that Watermelon Twitter is worse than Gamergate. So it's like this hasn't. This is just an everyday occurrence, and it always was. She wants to pretend that Gamergate was when it started, but no, that's just how the internet always was. Maybe even worse, and like as you go back further, it just seems totally delusional. Well, it's not delusional. It's probably a lie, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. I don't know. I even say I'm pro game. I was just like, basically, I feel like we were probably in the same place. I was just like pro Total Biscuit, basically. I like Total Biscuit. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I was pro Total Biscuit, and then also I was like, I saw the Internet Aristocrat video when it came out as well.
What does it mean to be pro Gamergate?
A lot of different things.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's why I'm willing to back off of that label, because it's just like,
oh, okay.
I don't really have that many positions. It was just like, I thought like SJWs at that point in time were super cringe, which I mean most people who were like between 15 and 21 did, I would say. Like, you just seem super cringe.
Well, the big thing that started off Gamergate was this woman called Zoe Quinn slept with a number of developers who then later gave good reviews to her game, and that was outed by her ex-boyfriend. And it kind of muddled because there were a lot of people that obviously went after her for that. That's kind of the wrong move, because the people who have the ethical obligation to recuse themselves if they're giving a review would be the journalists. So that's probably where a lot of it sort of stems from. A lot of the negative sentiment is that it went after her initially. But like Total Biscuit was pretty, like every single instance I've ever heard of him talking about it, he has always said, no, it's about the journalists. It's about best practices when you're giving reviews. It's about how companies interact with media outlets. It's not about what this woman did.
Yeah, well, it is one of those things. It's basically every internet movement where like, yeah, you basically you have to answer for like the actions of the 0.1% crazies who do shit and like kind of sympathize with you. Yeah, so.
Yep. Yep.
So while I was away, I do know Jstlk thinks that there should be another conversation. You say that you doubt it'll happen because she'll spurg. But do you think if she pays Wick to host a panel about this, would you join?
Yeah, maybe. Probably. I don't even know what even is there. I can't even imagine what a second conversation would look like. I've got no interest in arguing about politics or beliefs with Brianna, because I think she's just like insanely dishonest. So I would just want to, like, you know, what do I go? Why would I sit there and have a conversation with her about just something casual if I've got these huge issues with her? Is my perspective. So it has to be about the shit she's done, and she's not going to do that again. Like, why would you do that again?
Yeah, I don't agree with Jstlk. I don't think that there's any point in another conversation. I believe that your first video that you had, it came out yesterday. That video,
technically second video, but go.
Oh, okay. Well, between these two things, that video that came out yesterday, taking that with edits from this conversation to show just a day later that she's still denying and deflecting, just the combination of that is worth so much more than the effort it would take to, I don't know, pull together a conversation with her with like any honesty.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that she's gonna have a hard time letting this go. That like it seemed like so bad and so clear that one person was in the right. I just figured she's gonna have a hard time letting this one go. Like that she'll probably feel the need to come back and talk about it again.
Yeah, but not to him, right? She'll like pay Wick. They'll get nicer people. Erudite will come on and everyone will talk about like trauma.
Listen, addicts often lie about their degrees, okay? Listen, guys, I don't think it's okay to go after an addict for lying about their degrees, guys, okay? Sorry, that was saying.
Oh, I see. I didn't understand where you're going with that. It does get a little bit much when people are like willing to excuse anything just because of addiction. It's like addicts have to answer for their fucking actions. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, it's just a total shield insult. Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Just someone in chat reminded me the signal conversation is going to happen too, so that'll be interesting after this. I wonder if you guys can get some of Autist to direct all of this information to him.
No, I mean, money Jesse Single that doesn't happen.
Jesse Single was an anti-Gamergate guy. Anyway, he was on Wu's side back in the day. I don't think he cares about any of this stuff.
Yeah, he won't care about
he cares about her slandering and her. If he understands her track record of doing so and how manipulative she is, it would probably help him.
No, I think he knows. I think he knows what she's been like. I don't think he's got.
I think there's no way she goes on that blocked and reported show. I don't think so. Especially after this, I feel like she's like, oh, I took criticism from this person. I feel like Jessie Single probably has like an equal amount of criticism. I don't think there's any way she's going on that show.
I worry. I feel like Jessie Single might quick kill over, but I hope he's got an axe to grind. I hope he goes in on her because he deserves. Because it wasn't just. I didn't put this in the video. Actually, this is a good thing I didn't put in the video. When she initially started accusing Jessie Single of stuff, it wasn't just saying that he was like a bad reporter and shit. It was these other people came out with these unsubstantiated allegations saying there were...
He's a chaser, right?
Yeah, Whisper Network reports that he's like a perverted chaser and all this shit, and he's harassing trans women.
I remember this.
And then like the next day, Brianna tweets, I have my own Jessie Single stories to share. And then she's like, oh no, I meant he's a dishonest reporter. I meant he's a bad reporter. Okay.
Scummy. Very, very scummy. But
okay, well, let's
bet on whether she's going on that show or not?
No, not that she's going on the show. She's going to go on the show. She already said she's going to. So she has to. No take-backs.
Yeah, Brianna Wu keeps her word all the time, sure.
Yeah, you think that Jessie, he's ready, and he's going to go hard on her. And he's going to have his receipts. He's going to be ready for that. Kuihman thinks, no, he was against Gamergate. He was pro Brianna Wu. It's probably going to be cordial.
I don't think it's necessarily cordial. I think what's going to happen is he might press her a bit, and then he's going to be like, okay, well, if you're admitting that you don't have the evidence for this, then I'll give up, and then they'll make friends, and they'll be fine. I think Wu is interested now in, because she's sort of been cast out of all the left-wing stuff. I think she's more interested in pursuing those connections and burying the hatchet.
She needs new networking opportunities. That much is very clear.
Yeah, I don't think Jessie Single is going to be as autistic as me and not want to be friends.
Which, like, is sad because I feel like she's gone after, like, she almost certainly went harder after Jessie than she did after, like, Total Biscuit or anybody. Like, he probably is the most reason to be pissed and, like, super upset about shit.
I mean, well, no, she didn't. I don't think she went harder at him than Total Biscuit. Nah, no way. Because Brianna had like 2 presentations where she's talking about Total Biscuit's horrible harassment of her at different fucking conventions and shit that we've had recorded. But she probably gave hundreds of speaks in those years, so who knows how many times she actually presented that fucking tweet. But she made like, I think at least, so we've got at least 6 times she said those things about Total Biscuit basically. And it was always about him being a harasser, leader of harassment. Jessie, she said a couple times, his audience harasses people. And I think she said once he harasses people, maybe. But other than that, like, I mean, number of times and severity of the claims, I think probably Total Biscuit's worse. I don't think.
Maybe I probably just use the life or death modifier there to swing it back to what I think, but it's fine. I think that's just a different way of looking at it. It's like, I don't think there's a lot. Like 10 years later after Total Biscuit died, I don't know how much damage I feel.
Oh yeah, true.
But like, it's just I still think it's bad. Like, both are bad.
I just hate it. It just pisses me off personally.
Bro,
but yeah,
this just triggered me on the thing. Did you notice how she basically tried to like call you a parasocial loser by being like, well, if his widow wants to message me and say she has a problem with something that I said, then I'm willing to listen. She's basically hinting that you don't have any reason to be upset. Like, why are you upset? You didn't know him. You don't fucking do anything with Total.
Well, it's also just like, I mean, that just seems like such a weird thing to say as well. Like, oh, if you want me to reevaluate my claims about this guy, his widow has to come grovel to me and beg me to finally grace them with an apology for the years of slandering that I've committed. Like, well, okay, that's like actually kind of gross that you're even suggesting that. Like, why don't you go look and see if you were wrong? And then say, hey guys, I was wrong. Well, how about that instead? Hello.
Hello, mate. How's it going? I feel like it's been forever since we last spoke.
Hello.
Hello, Counterpoints. What's going on?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Life's good.
You calling in from the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, I'm at work.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Appreciate you both taking the time. So,
yeah,
look.
You're welcome to you in chat for content.
Yeah, it was fun content. I appreciate, everyone coming together and having a conversation so I can leech off it for a few hours. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think, regardless of any discussion about how the conversation went, I think Brianna repeatedly muting Kuihman unnecessarily is a massive L. And you just kind of let it happen. What was that about?
Well, so for framing, I didn't necessarily expect Brianna to join the conversation, but what happened last week was Kuihman made some response video. He was being spicy as always. I tweeted, hey, Kuihman, we can basically always talk. Brianna jumped into the replies and said, yes, we can talk. We set it up for this Wednesday. We never discussed whether or not I would be a moderator. I'm not a moderator. I'm a co-host. And it seemed like all of the time and attention and energy was directed towards her. So it was really a conversation between them two.
Well, yeah, I was told that basically Brianna was only giving me an hour, hour and a half in the end. But I was only given an hour, so I knew that going in, it was going to be Brianna, then Connor. Obviously, I never set up as a moderator. I never said Connor was a moderator. I don't know where people have got the idea you're a moderator. I guess just because of the framing of the conversation of me.
I think it's just because I was there and I was more passive.
Yeah. I don't like. I've been saying in chat today, I'm running damage control for you, to be honest, because it's like I don't understand why people have got this perception that either you were muting me or that you were the moderator. Or
it's because the muting was very aggressive in the beginning.
It's because of what?
It's because the muting was very aggressive in the beginning. So it seemed like you were just starting and then you would get muted, just starting and get muted. So
no, yeah, sure. I was getting muted. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why people think you were muting me. It seemed pretty clear that.
So wait a second. Sorry, Counterpoint. So you agreeing that the muting was, as you frame it, aggressive at the beginning?
Yeah, I actually discussed this with Brianna today and a little bit after the show.
More talking tactics.
Yeah, exactly. More talking tactics. So I think that emanating from Twitch politics, I saw people talking shit a little bit about it. I was muted towards the end there, so because I actually had to do some work. But I think coming from Twitch politics, like the way that we used to talk on the panel shows is you can't mute somebody else. You got to fight them. And so if you're trying to mute or if you're trying to dodge, then it's kind of viewed as like rhetorical weakness. I think that Brianna was looking for a different conversation than the one that she was presented with.
Well, yeah, I mean, Brianna wanted an easier conversation, probably one that wasn't quite so challenging, pointing out.
Well, and I could literally screenshot the text messages, but I basically said, and I don't think Brianna's going to take offense to this, I literally said, Kuihman is the most aggressive, well-researched, abrasive autist in the commentary space, so you can't sleep on him. Basically.
You've
learned that from Brianna. You've learned that from Brianna, haven't you? Hey?
Is it not true, though?
Kuihman's just a hateful little Jew, okay? That's what Kuihman is.
Okay, but doesn't his hateful Jewry give him a certain set of skills that allows him to excel in that capacity?
Okay. Oh, man.
It's kind of gay. It's a bit gay.
This is gay. You're going to make me say something nice. I don't want to, okay? Fucking hell. Listen, Kuihman is...
Don't.
Okay. It's just, it's a bit over. It's a bit much. But sure, I mean, Kuihman obviously looks into stuff with quite a fine tooth comb. He's interested in facts. I don't know. It sounds so gay. But no. What I mean is, but then the thing is, I look at Kuihman sometimes like, fucking hell, he's going a bit heavy, isn't he? Like he's like a schizo barbarian sometimes. But I think that's important, right? I think you need that energy from someone because otherwise everyone just sucks each other off and it's fucking gay.
Well, and not just that, but I kind of alluded to it in the conversation a little bit, but I think that there's a value there, and when your feet are getting held to when you're getting held to task or whatever, that's what like drags out like your best rhetoric. Your best conversations are oftentimes when your opponent is the most aggressive. So if you want to be doing like high level politics, you need to be able to deal with Twitch politics first.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's what makes it all the crazier for me that you were just kind of like so much on Wu's side with some of this stuff. And you didn't seem like you were really willing to call out any bad behavior, particularly like the muting or something like that in the call? Like, why don't you say anything or do anything to like stop that at the time?
Because she's my co-host and my peer, and my relationship with her is more important than my relationship to you or Kuihman or your guys' audience.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I appreciate the honesty, but that's kind of insane, though. That like you're just admitting you are a woo cuck.
I'm not a woo cuck. I'm just not going to openly attack her in a conversation that is between her and her opponent. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy? Wouldn't it be fucking crazy if I literally ran a weekly show with my co-host and then a guest comes on and I'm like, hey, actually the guest is right. You're a massive piece of shit. Fuck you. Like, wouldn't that also be crazy?
Well, okay, but
I don't think that's what's being said. You're drawing a false dichotomy there, Connor.
Yes.
You're kind of saying that it's either you have to either say that Woo's a complete piece of shit or sit there completely silent and not mention the fact that Woo is interrupting me to talk and then muting me when I try and continue my sentence. I think that's more.
You're a big boy, so I trust you to put on your big boy pants and handle it.
Well, no, listen, I am very happy with Woo muting me repeatedly and it being blatantly obvious to the audience that it was happening. But I think the reason people have an issue with the way you acted in the conversation is because they didn't see that from you. So,
and they can have that. To be honest, I think that at that point, once Brianna, so I have no problem talking to you or Chud or Sunday or whatever. As a matter of fact, if there's ever a contention where you're like, hey, I think Connor's actually saying something that he doesn't believe in, I don't give a flying fuck if you fucking DM me and you say, hey, Connor, come on, I want to take you to task on this shit. And then I need to be able to defend myself in that conversation. That's not a problem. But once Brianna jumped into the replies, Brianna jumped into the replies, it was more conversation between you two than it was about us.
I mean, that's fine. But like, the other day when you popped up in chat and I was covering the conversation, I just recognized it was worthless to talk to you because all you do is sweep for Woo. And that's all you seem to do whenever the topic of Woo comes up,
Well, so this is interesting because this is what Chad has said repeatedly as well. So sweep. When I think of sweep, I think of sweeping dirt under the rug. Can you think of any dirt that I swept during that conversation under the rug?
So basically, when we say sweeping, obviously there's the idea that you're covering something up, but it can also just mean an unnecessary or unreasonable defense of someone. Okay. And I think that in the course of the conversation, you were favoring Brianna Wu on certain points, and you were allowing Brianna. I mean, it loops back into the point I've already made, but you were kind of allowing Brianna to give cover for her actions on certain points by not really holding her to task for stuff that Kuihman was pointing out that was just correct. Like one example was the idea of lying about the qualification. It seemed like you were quite keen to allow Brianna to kind of, speak on that as being more of a misspeak or a mistake than a genuine thing of them having previously said, I've got a qualification, and then getting exposed, and then, that sort of thing.
There are 3 more instances I got sent today as well of that. It's quite funny.
But how do I my conversation with I had a brief conversation with Brianna today. I was like, hey, listen, like kind of making it this ethereal amalgamation of random accusations against you. Kuihman might be the most aggressive, but these things are going to keep popping up. And so if these things are going to keep popping up, what you basically need to do is you need to turn it into a chronology. Turn it into a narrative, not trying to say that negatively, but turn that into a narrative and articulate what was your mindset at the time? Why did you say what you said? How is it different from reality? What is the reality? What do you want to do going forward? And it has to be short and concise and quick. And the thing about the truth is, this is something that I might have caught you saying earlier, but the thing about the truth is, let's say that she said, yeah, I was running for Congress. I was feeling pressure in order to sanitize my credentials. I know more than most people in Congress. As a result, I claimed a title that I don't have a technical cert in, but I did so at the time. It might seem like an exaggeration at this point. I don't claim that.
I mean, it's just anymore. A case of saying, I was wrong to do that. Why can't someone just say, yeah, I was wrong to do that. I was wrong to say that. I was wrong to think that. I shouldn't have expressed that. Like, it's always a political response and a political answer. It's very slimy. And that's what people don't like.
It's the inability to accept and actually just something you did that you knew you were doing that was probably bad. That she can never do that. It's always, well, there were all these other things going on at the time, or there's this reason I did it.
But tell me, so let's take your sentence and add it to my sentence. It's unreasonable. It was bad. I shouldn't have done it, and I don't stand by it anymore. Okay. We add that to it. We get those 20 seconds. At that point, Kuihman can still call Brianna a bad person, but does he have this like big leverage on which to dunk? And I think the answer is no.
No, obviously not. I mean, like, that's the thing. You can't. When people say, "Oh, that was a long time ago," it's like it's either to say, "Oh, it's like minuscule and doesn't really matter," or they've moved past that. But if someone keeps doing similar things, and then whenever you bring up the things they've done in the past, they can't own that those things were bad, well, it doesn't seem like they actually understand that they're bad. It doesn't seem like they're going to stop. And that's where the criticism comes from, right? It's not about you did this bad thing. It's you've kept doing this bad thing. It's a predictor of behavior.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem with the lefties. I'm going to indict their side a little bit more. I think that Vosh's philosophy of language, of like postmodern language, where it's all about power, it lends itself to this idea that like words are just like these tools that we use in order to gain power, money, and influence, and they're not actually reflections of reality. And I think that the more you make words reflective of reality, the more like coherent you come across.
I feel like you're overthinking this massively. It's very simple. Brianna Wu does some fucked up shit, doesn't really account for it, and then slips on by to the next ship and latches on like a rat escaping the previous ship. That's the criticism. That's the issue. Doesn't seem to have changed. Doesn't seem like it will change. It's why I would have no interest in any, like, just why I find it so slimy and disgusting the way that Brianna Wu, handles herself. It's very frustrating. But you're coming up with all this fiery language. Who cares about what Vosh is saying about this, dude? You didn't even fucking adequately criticize Vosh for the lolly shit. Speaking of which, sorry.
Yeah, you wanna throw me on a mute for that one? So the yeah, I mean, if you have a serious statement or question, I mean, I can address it. But
okay. Listen,
I've articulated.
I thought the point was suited to talk. Okay, but like, the only thing I would say, okay, is you had this insane conversation with me because I didn't criticize Lolly hard enough, despite the fact that I feel like I, was the person that brought it to light in the first place. But like, when Vosh had his little controversy, you seemed very unwilling to offer any sort of strong criticism or condemnation of what Vosh did. And I think it's because you're politically connected and tied to him.
Yeah. And I've said as much. So let's break it down, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. When it comes to the food shop stuff, the reason why I took you to task for it so aggressively is because Kuihman, God help him, was milking the fuck out of food shops. And you know how like sometimes when you give negative attention to somebody, it helps them grow? That's basically what was happening. And Kuihman was just having a fucking laugh milking food shops content. Now, she goes up and down in metrics or whatever. But the funny thing is that compared to some other Twitch politics people, she actually does relatively well. And I largely blame Kuihman for that. Then what happened when you were criticizing it or whatever, my inference at the time was that you weren't going particularly hard.
I'll be honest with you, right? My whole point was not I need to murder food shops in the crib. I don't fucking care. Food shops can be 100 viewer streamer, 200 viewer. I don't fucking care if food shops is jerking it to Lolly and is a 1,000 viewer streamer, as long as people know that's the case and engage willingly. It was never about that. You misunderstood what the point of it was. The point was to say, hey, if you're thinking about going on a food shop show, by the way, they've said some pretty wacky stuff, just so you know. And that was it, right? And then we got into, I fucked up a bit because I let you fucking bloviate like you do. Right? It doesn't matter what my personal view of like a free speech perspective on if someone draws something, what that fucking means and what it doesn't mean. Okay? It's very simply that I was well within my rights to say what I said about food shops. I said it fairly, I said it reasonably, and now you just come and admit that you didn't call out Vosh for that because it's politically inconvenient to do so. What the fuck, bro?
And we'll get into that in a second. So I do care about that. If somebody is growing bigger and they're actively promoting lolicon as acceptable behavior and they're building a community around themselves, then yeah, I do care about that. Okay.
And you think food shops is doing that?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think food shops content hinges on the idea that they're consuming lolly content necessarily. Like,
well, I don't know, Kuihman, can you answer me? Because the last time that I heard about food shops was when she was in a commentary panel where she was like, "Yeah, I'm a small P." Pedialyte drinker. So correct me, am I wrong?
Best content is definitely the pedophile content for sure. Yeah.
All right. So I kind of disagree with you there, Chud. All right, so moving to Bosch.
Well, wait, no, there's a different. Okay, but don't you think that when Food Shop says that, that's hardly like they're saying they're a pedophile? I don't think that is saying, oh yeah, what I'm doing is acceptable, because that word is considered to be such a bad thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, listen, Food Shops will have to fucking attest to this, but I would imagine that Food Shops probably recognises that what they do is considered very degenerate, and I can't imagine it has any chance or hope of pushing the idea that lolly stuff is okay. I mean, normally, okay, in fact, the worst kind of lolicon person is when they try and justify it and say, oh, it's just drawings or something like that, whereas, you know, Food Shops is out of calling themselves a small p pedophile.
No, but she does justify
well, yeah, she says she's a small p pedophile, and that's okay, right?
Okay. Well, listen, I'll take the L on that. I'll take the L on that if that's
okay.
The case.
And then hold on. And
but that's only a very small L. Okay.
Not only that,
because I don't really fucking. Okay, go on.
Okay. So not only that, but I would view, despite me liking Max Carson or Mr. Girl, I also view Max Carson, aka Mr. Girl, as the other person who plays in this, like, you know, kind of soup of like, you know, is he a pedophile? Is he not a pedophile? You know, what really is a pedophile? What should we condemn? What should we not condemn? What's natural attraction? What's not natural attraction? And I view it as a step towards normalization. And I hate that shit. I think it's fucking gross. And I am critical of it.
Okay. So if that's a problem for you, right? Why can you not put your political expediency aside to be critical of Vosh, who on a much bigger platform showed their fucking folder which had lolicon in it and played defense for it? Like, surely that's a lot worse and worthy of much bigger criticism.
For years too, right?
You need to articulate it, because you need to be very specific, because this is actually something that like people just don't understand, even though I say it again and again and again. What did he do in the wake of the controversy?
So in the wake of the controversy, he released numerous statements, okay, and he said contradictory things about the matter. But fundamentally, he was able to wriggle out of responsibility from his community by claiming he'd accidentally downloaded it, right? And he wrote off all the comments that he'd made as these kind of jokes and memes. But by your logic, all the things that he said, if you're saying that what Food Shops is doing is bad, Vosh is way worse, because he said this stuff on like much bigger platforms. And then when he's dead to rights on like, okay, so you're saying this seems like an attempt to normalize or justify it. He's wriggled around it and wriggled out of it and, you know, made out like, oh no, I was making an argument here, or I was making an argument there, or that was a joke. When all of that is a way worse normalization. That was way worse of an attempt to, you know, that would, in your logic, a worse attempt to normalize it than anything that Food Shops has done.
Wait, so you're saying that you're saying that Vosh, in the wake of the lolly controversy, tried to normalize lolicon?
I'm not saying that he specifically tried to normalize lolicon. What he did was worse, because he tried to write off all of his statements as jokes or arguments, when a reasonable person could interpret his actions as trying to normalize pedophilia or normalize lolicon. But he just steps away and goes, oh no, that's just a joke, that's just a meme, guys. When all of his comments easily could be argued to be justifying those actions.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I also think that he got fucking annihilated. I think he got fucking murdered for like 60 days. I think for 60 days he was fucking butt raped by commentary, by Ethan Klein, by the general public, by political people. And it was questionable whether or not he was even going to have a career after that, because of how absolutely fucking toxic it was.
Okay, I mean, look, it's fine. I'm not saying that you have to weigh in on every single thing that happens. That's ridiculous, right? It's not saying that you have to comment on everything that happens. The basic point is, you know, you had a big issue with me and what I did, even though I spoke out against it quite clearly, just didn't do it to exact standard and satisfaction, because I've got a disagreement on a certain aspect of it. But yet didn't give that same energy to Vosh at all, and we're just happy all he's getting shit on already. Well, why did you not participate then, if you were so strongly about
it? I think Food Shops, called me out on that, and so I DM'd Vosh to kill himself. So, you know.
Okay, I mean, that's all well and good to correct the record after it's happened, but, you know, you can see why that's a frustrating thing. And we haven't really spoken that much since then about it, but yeah, I mean, it's just come up there. Deep-rooted feelings coming out.
I'm sorry for frustrating you.
Okay, you don't have to apologise to me. I don't care about that. I just, you know, it's just to fucking say that it's very irritating, and, you know, it just seems like your political manoeuvrings are front and centre of your actions before what you think or feel about something. And
yeah, that's true. And so this is true. So if I can if I can share, even if you don't like it, I just want to share the idea. So Twitch and YouTube politics, you're actually responsible for this. You're the one who blackpilled me on this shit. So Twitch and YouTube politics is largely drama. It's probably 80, 90, 95% drama. That's all it is. We dress it up in autistic speeches and ideologies and all this kind of bullshit, but as far as real world application, it's almost nothing. And what I think PV is earnestly trying to do is trying to translate some of that energy into an electoral outcome. So that means getting some of these freaks from Twitch and YouTube politics to actually get involved in electoralism. So while I have a large amount of distaste for Vosh in his current iteration, I also have a large distaste for his politics. The one thing that he can do is hopefully mobilize a few dozen fucking autistic spurgs to have some kind of electoral output. And that is more important than anything that we do here.
Okay, but what about when the actions of someone supersede it to such a high degree that, like, I mean, Vosh is now known as the lolly horsecock guy. Like, he should be nowhere near mainstream politics, but yet Progressive Victory released a video with him in fairly recently to promote it. And what was in the replies? Why are you promoting the lolicon horsecock guy? Right? Sometimes people are just too toxic to be that close to it. And I think, you know, you've got to bear that in mind. And I think we see it time and time again. I mean, just earlier we were talking about Sargon of Akkad, who made that rape joke, which still is chasing him, you know, years after the fact. And I think that, you know, when obviously he was making a joke and that still chases him around, versus Vosh making questionable defenses of what is probably an interest in lolicon horsecock pornography, and other very troubling comments about child porn and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's just like, that seems to me the worst, most extreme thing, and you would surely want to distance yourself from that if you're a serious political organization.
Well, this is way above my pay grade, and they're making the decisions between like online political toxicity and electoral output. That's their decision to make. It's way above me. And then two, what I would say is, I think that with Twitch and YouTube politics, any figure you touch is basically going to have some fucking horror show of bullshit that they fucking said. So that's the calculation. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it is what it is.
Okay, I'm getting a message, not an actual message, but theoretically. Okay, I didn't mute you, Kuihman. What are you on about? I'm getting a message from someone, and they're saying, "Let me in, little green man." I wonder what that's about. President Sunday, are you okay to talk to President Sunday?
Of course.
Okay, I want to take a step back though, because we've been quite, you know, going at it. I just, you know, I want to just take more of a back seat, because fuck me, I don't want it to turn into a dog pile, despite what I just witnessed.
So. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to say, I don't give a fuck about chat. I'm going to say, I enjoy your fucking content. So if I glaze you, it's earnest. I respect your fucking, I knew you back when you were a fucking 30 viewer luchadore mask wearing fucking Twitch panelist with a fucking, a Discord controversy. Okay. So whatever fucking heated bullshit that you fucking have against me, just say it.
Of course. Listen, okay. Despite what my chat says, I find you very irritating, annoying, and frustrating to engage with sometimes, but I don't have any hatred towards you. You're just really annoying sometimes. Kuihman, you hate everyone, don't you? What's your thoughts?
No, I actually like Connor, but yeah, I agree. Very frustrating to deal with.
Oh, damn, that's rough.
And to watch.
That is rough, isn't it? Damn. Chat's not going to like that, Kuihman. They're going to say we're sweeping for Connor now.
Sweeping.
I always say I like Connor. I always tell people to chill out on the CTE, Moorcop, Benoit jokes.
Listen, I did serve in a school resource officer. I probably have some CTE. These are all valid criticisms.
Okay, well, I've got someone in the call here who maybe has got a different view. Yeah. The president.
Howdy ho.
Howdy ho to you.
I missed the last 5 seconds, so can someone refresh me as to where we're at?
I glazed Chud, and then they glazed me back.
Okay. Well, I guess given where I sort of jumped into listening to this, because I dipped for a few minutes. Connor, I understand the logic behind having a front-facing position that differs from your privately held one for tactical reasons, because you need to coalition build with other people in order to win at the game of democracy and whatnot. What perplexes me is why on earth would you say that in public? That completely undermines your credibility. What you're trying to do is directly contradicted by you saying it's like the reverse of if you've seen Dr. Strangelove. It's like having weapons of self-destruction is absolutely worthless if you tell the whole, unless you tell the whole world about them, so it deters them. Similarly here, it's the reverse. If you tell everyone that you're bullshitting them in order to bullshit them, you see the contradiction.
What's the bullshit?
Well, the bullshit is your front-facing positions that you don't believe in, your coalition building with people you don't actually agree with and pretending to in order to presumably like give the Democrats some small edge in the upcoming election. But then you're broadcasting that this is what you're doing to the world so that you are telling everybody that you are untrustworthy and the people you associate with likewise are untrustworthy. You're hurting their credibility too, and your own. Like that seems to me like it would do the opposite of what you're trying to achieve.
I'm confused by this though, just because you're saying that like I'm coalition building with people that I don't like or something towards an end that I do like.
Not that you don't like. To be very clear, Chud, and I'm going to misquote you because well, no, but what Chud was saying earlier is like, it seems like you have opinions that you're giving in public, right? That do not actually reflect what you actually believe. But you're saying you actually believe these things. You're saying you actually care about these things. You're saying you're on side with X, Y, and Z. No, you were talking about it in the abstract, right?
Yeah. So what I would want an example, because the reason why you're saying like, why are you giving away the game that what we're doing is we're playing electoral politics with progressive victory in order to build the marginal edge necessary in order to put Biden in the White House, is because that's a stated goal that I want. I prefer Biden over Trump.
Yeah. No, I understand that. But you were talking about it in the abstract. So in principle, Chud said in the abstract, in general, like it is a universal thing. Yeah, so it seems like you are stating opinions in public that you don't actually believe with. You are being fundamentally disingenuous. And we all know, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, that this is what you have to do in order to win in electoral politics. What I'm perplexed by is why you would then acknowledge that after the fact and say, yeah, of course that's what we do. Of course,
I would need an example. I would need,
but you don't. But you don't because of vowing that principle by itself is enough. You're declaring that this is what you will do or what you have done. I don't need an example. You've said it. You've just confirmed it, right? Yeah, examples would be to establish if you were denying this that this is what you were doing. But I don't need to because you've just said it.
Okay, well then I'll say this. I'll try to give you an example since I'm not getting one, I guess. So I find progressives largely, except for present company excluded, insufferable, overeducated, underemployed douchebags who think that they know how the world functions, but they haven't held this steady job for more than 2 years. That's my general impression.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you an example of why this matters. So because you just said that you're willing to state opinions that you don't actually believe in order to win at electoralism or in order to build connections to win at electoralism, I don't believe you when you say present company excluded. I think you're being disingenuous, right?
I think you're probably overeducated and unemployed, and you can be insufferable, but you're also really funny. So I give you a pass.
I'm overeducated and employed, sir.
No, I said underemployed.
Oh, underemployed? I think I'm overemployed, really.
Okay, but you get the thing that like I give you a pass because you're autistic and funny. And to my knowledge, you don't.
Yeah, but that's a weakness. That's a weakness of my own ego. That's not because what you're doing is convincing here.
Okay. So what I'm saying is I have plenty of indictments of the far left in particular, and probably even the center left, that I viciously dislike. But I'm willing to pinch my nose and work with these people because I think that there's an electoral result that is better serving of the American people.
Sure, but you also said that this was predicable of what progressive victory does, not just you.
Yeah, I think they probably get really frustrated with some of Destiny and Vosh's public blowouts. I think
I'm sure I do, but
political.
I do absolutely, but that's beside the point. The issue is not me being frustrated with progressive victory's alliances. The issue is with progressive victory claiming to be of a particular progressive bent, and then making statements to that effect. That's what they care about, but then behind the scenes, paying off conservatives, being filled with people whose policy objectives are actually directly contrary to the avowed aims of progressive victory, so on and so forth. That's a bit of a problem. Now, if you want to say, well, like, of course, coalition building between like a broad and diverse array of positions is absolutely critical to winning at electoralism. Yeah, sure. But what you would never say if that's actually your goal is, yeah, we have a front-facing position that is actually directly contrary to our actual valid beliefs. Why? Because the decisions that Progressive Victory makes in order to win are going to be, there's not going to be a clear one-to-one connection between what they do and what it ultimately achieves. Suppose, for example, someone were to suspect that, hey, I think some of the people involved in Progressive Victory who are, feeding into its decision-making process, I think some of them might have aims that are actually socially contrary to the avowed aims of Progressive Victory. Maybe Progressive Victory doesn't actually believe in the things it says it wants to do, and so the things it does aren't actually really aimed at achieving those things. Maybe they're achieved at things that are sort of not that, right? Like maybe,
well, I'll tell you what, Sunday, let's cut to the chase here,
please.
Because, I think we need to have a little combo about this. It's been a while. I believe you had some harsh comments about my words on, and I quote, blacks on that Progressive Victory stream. Is that correct?
Yeah, but the harsh words weren't really for you, to be honest. You were being a shit and making jokes. You are not posturing as a political advocate, so you don't have the same kind of responsibility. Progressive Victory are. They're taking other people's money to do that. So I think them putting you on screen.
Logical purity. Sorry, President Sunday, if you'll allow me an interjection. Mm-hmm. So isn't this the kind of like ideological purity bullshit that keeps lefties in general from doing anything productive ever? Is you're so concerned with the people who are involved that you end up canceling all of each other before you get.
Oh, no. You're mistaken about the context of this. Yeah, you're a bit mistaken about the context of this, Connor. The issue is not ideological diversity here. The issue is that Chud here was on stream with your friends in Progressive Victory asking something racist, saying we should support the blacks.
It was hilarious. Right? I watched the stream for prolonged periods of time. Yes.
Terrible comments.
Yeah. So
no, it's an optically stupid thing to do that undermines. It's providing fodder to your enemies. That's a mistake. We're not talking about like intellectual disagreement. We're talking about making you look bad.
On in the background saying racist things while they're doing a live stream.
Background.
Deport
that was the main show.
Connor, he was prompted by Pixie and Kyla, I think, to say something racist, and he said, "Deport the blacks."
Okay, based.
Well, I don't know. Wait a second. To be clear, I don't know if I was asked to say something racist. I think I did that one by myself.
No, you were.
No, you were. You were.
No, they said, "Chud, say something racist," and you're like, "If we deported 60% of the blacks, there'd be no more crime."
Well, I was drunk and I'm not watching the stream, so I'll take your word for it. Okay.
Which, to be clear, by the way, Connor, I'm gonna see you halfway here. Okay. Bunch of friends drunk, like fooling around in a pub or whatever. I can see them being a little stupid like that, but that was then published to the channel and was left there for an extended period of time.
Yeah, but that's not okay. But for me, knowing how it operates on the interior, a lot of this infrastructure is being built up from scratch. Like basically getting content creators, creating content, finding an editor, getting the editor to edit content, posting it consistently, creating a clips channel, like all this stuff. Like it's.
I mean, I don't think the clips channel actually produced anything in like close to a year. No.
Well, when I'm saying clips channel, I'm talking about PD Spotlight. They're taking a bunch of like streams and debates and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. They hadn't produced anything for like close to a year.
No, PD Spotlight is active.
It's active now. But wasn't there like some drama in the background? Like the team wasn't producing? Because I think it was Xanderhall's team that was doing that.
Okay, I'm sure that there was drama because when you're talking about building like a logistics infrastructure, then yeah, it takes time and energy and intentionality.
The drama I'm really interested in is why did Brianna Wu leave Progressive Victory? That's what I'm really interested in because it seemed like Jstlk was hinting towards having a bunch of information on that last night. Last time Connor spoke about it, he said it was because she has a very Type A domineering personality. I just wanted to know if Connor would want to expand on that, if any details come out at some point. Sorry?
No, I was joking. I was saying, did you write that down? Because I think that's almost a direct quote.
I've got that logged in my memory, burned in.
No, I think I stand by that comment. And on top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if more information came to light that it would be that kind of thing. And on top of that, you had a debate with her last night. Was she Type A and domineering in the conversation? Was she abrasive?
No, most Type A people can get their point out without muting, generally.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right. Well, I think you could categorize your conversation as contentious.
Connor, just to push back a little bit on that. Yeah, obviously there's going to be logistical hiccups. I'm not trying to harp on the PV Spotlight thing, but we're not just talking about this little startup of yours that's kind of like a private interest thing. You're taking money from people, and you're encouraging people to get involved and spend their time and energy on a project that is of public interest. You're selling them on the idea that this is a thing that is going to help them. If you're doing things with those funds that is doing the opposite, that's not good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think as an example, if y'all wanted me to crow about the things that are actually productive, obviously a lot of people have turned up their noses that Cincinnati only registered a few hundred people, but there was, $40,000 or 40,000 doors knocked. There was like 8,000 conversations.
Really? What was that number? I didn't hear that. What was it again?
It was like, I want to say, now bear in mind, I had a meeting like a month ago, so I'm quoting it off the top of my head. I believe it was 40,000 doors knocked. I think it was like 8,000 political conversations had with already existing registered voters. And then it was 300 or 150 or 200 new registered voters.
And how many people were brought in to do that?
300.
It's like 1 to 1. Okay.
You did the DGG fundraising for all of this. Did anyone donate the $1,000 to get a ride in Brianna Wu's Porsche? Because I know she didn't show up, so they must have not gotten their ride in the Porsche.
I don't know the answer to that question, Kuihman. But another example is that a lot of the PV reps have been pushing phone banking, and there was some specific thing. I think they're probably going to release the information on it, but they logged like 120 or 200, I forget the exact number, shifts of phone banking that translated into roughly 100,000 phone banking calls that actually was within the margin of error for that election. So like you're saying that all the money is not being deployed properly, or isn't it bad that this money is being deployed in ways that could be objectionable? And it's like, well, if you're achieving real results, then you have to take the good with the bad, which is every institution I've ever been a part of ever.
Sure, but what if Connor, those few hundred registered voters that you got would have been gotten anyways because of Destiny's involvement, and what's actually happened is DGG's involvement has turned this whole thing into a slush fund where there is no way to track if that money is actually efficacious for anything. What if it's just disappeared? And if PV wasn't involved at all, you would have the exact same result. Or, given the recent drama involving people who've been brought into PV, the content creators and whatnot, who all have been melting down lately, what if the total is actually lower than it would have been? Isn't that a possibility?
I would say that this is actually my criticism of lefties or whatever, is that you're so busy running hypotheticals about what's good and bad and et cetera, you don't just get out there and mix the shit up. So I would rather work with people who get out there and fuck it up and try, rather than trying to build some perfect ideological organization.
No, but this isn't a hypothetical, Connor. No, you're confused. The point is not that
organization to PV. You have another one.
The point is if you're citing your results, but you actually can't provide any firm basis for distinguishing the portion of the results that PV actually did versus the other organization that was involved with it, or the other community that was involved with it, that was already actively canvassing, then that's not helping your case, because I have no basis for thinking that the results that you're claiming are actually yours.
Well, you would have to talk to people who are actually involved in this process. I can't give you an answer that's above my pay grade.
Well, am I not talking to one right now?
Well, no, you would have to talk to Destiny and say, hey, was the facilitation that PV actually... Hold on, let me answer your question. Don't answer
I wasn't speaking.
While I'm answering it. Okay.
I didn't say anything.
Sorry, I just saw your mouth move. So the facilitate... Okay, so you would have to ask Destiny in a private setting, not in public, before, probably after the election, once everything's settled, and you would have to say, was PV's facilitation of your canvassing efforts worth the association?
How would he
will have an answer for you.
But how would he know? Like, how are you distinguishing these?
Because he's the one who ran the Georgia event where basically...
No, I get that, but like, you're misunderstanding the problem here.
I want to finish.
Destiny ran an independent event. He did have a few hundred people show up to Georgia. He did have somebody who was running his event who basically defrauded him of $5,000, and then they had to make it all up on the back end. Whereas what I understand from the Cincinnati event is that it was basically a turnkey event where DGG showed up and all of the networking was already done. So that's already a one-to-one comparison between DGG doing it independently and PV facilitating the process.
No, but the results we're looking at is not the funds raised. The results we're looking at is the amount of registered voters, right?
Sure.
It's like the reach of the canvassing efforts. So what I'm questioning is
other organizations that already exist, not a hypothetical that you created.
What?
If there was another let's say that we have DGGPV, right? We have this organization.
No, Connor, please, hang on 1 second, just please.
Okay, sorry, I think I know what's happening here. Right, I think what Sunday is trying to say, you can't differentiate between the DGG results and the Progressive Victory results, and it could be that Progressive Victory are piggybacking on the DGG outcome to be like, look how successful it is, but without Progressive Victory, maybe it would have worked with DGG anyway because they've got big fucking shit going on.
There you go.
Okay, so
what I would say as a counter argument is that Destiny is the head of one of those organizations. In order to get an honest answer to that question, you would have to ask him.
Well, but how would he know, though, Connor? How would he be telling these?
In the Georgia event, he had several.
Why does that matter?
But the Georgia event, he was inexperienced. He might have learned from that to make it better. So maybe he's learned from it. You know, I don't know. Maybe
his channel might have grown substantially since then.
It's grown as well. Yeah.
Hey, and am I supposed to get you a mixed variable analysis where I
no? If you're going to Connor, it's very simple. If you're going to claim that PV has had positive results, but those positive results are mixed in with the work of another group, you need to be able to show me which of those results are yours. If you can't, then you claiming that PV has done good is just spurious. You have no factual basis for saying this.
Okay, so number one, I'll tell you how I think they did good regardless of stats. So when I went to Cincinnati, there were 300 basement dwelling Twitch politics fucking audience members who showed up to a city, not all of whom were from that city, and they actually socialized, hung out, talked in real life, and had a good time with other people that were around them. That by itself, getting 300 Twitch poll people to actually go do something that's touching grass, that has value to me by itself, and I think in and of itself qualifies as good. Getting those people involved in the political electoral process, I think is also a good. And if you're saying, how do I know that? Because do I have an Excel spreadsheet? No, I don't. But I think this is part of the problem with the fucking left. You want to measure everything instead of just fucking doing it.
Well, but the results you're citing as the good that your organization does are numerical, Connor. If you don't have a spreadsheet, what are you basing this off of?
I mean, let me address you directly. The way that I...
Do you even know how many registered voters you actually got? How do you think that was tallied?
Let me
tell you. Yeah, there's a software program that they use in order to track that stuff. So let me tell you exactly how I would measure this if President Sunday was my president and dictator and I needed to answer this question for him, even though I fucking don't. What I would do is I would take the PV-DGG hybrid, I would get 300 canvassers, and I would run it in a city. Then I would find another organization that was doing similar work. I would get 300 canvassers, and I would run it in the same city. And I would see what the numbers were. If the numbers were the same or more for the PV-DGG thing.
Sure.
So you're having them knock on the same doors.
No, they can be in different cities as long as the cities are comparable.
Well, then that's a problem, though, because now it can be confounded by the different contexts.
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go to fucking Sam, head of PV, and dick slap him myself and say, I'm taking over this organization?
No, but seriously.
I'm taking over this organization. President Sunday needs some serious numbers in order to justify your existence, or else nobody will take PV seriously. Let me go ahead and compete with another organization, or else President Sunday is going to shut PV down.
Yeah. Connor, no. You're misunderstanding me. I don't need you to have those numbers. The only reason why you're bringing up those numbers is as a way to make up for the fact that everybody involved in PV and the people they've involved around them, sorry, Chud, makes them look fucking awful. So you're saying, well, hang on, you can't argue with the results. But I is arguing with the results because you actually haven't produced them.
I think that in order to evaluate results, you have to say as compared to what? And if there isn't an alternative that presently exists, then it doesn't fucking matter.
But hang on, though. There is an alternative that presently exists. There is DGG's involvement, and DGG is considerably larger than everybody else involved in PV combined.
Okay. So DGG should just rough it by themselves in order to see if they're better than PV.
No, I'm saying that DGG roughing it by themselves already knows they're better than PV. The question is, how much of DGG's results can PV actually lay claim to?
That's a bold assertion. How do you know?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Destiny has managed to aggregate hundreds of thousands of people in his audience. Nobody in PV, with the maybe exception of Vosh, has managed to do that.
Wow, Destiny glazing from Sunday. You fuck, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, this is interesting. So hold on.
Can't argue with results.
Okay, you understand that PV's function is not in recruiting canvassers. It is in creating the canvassing houses, incorporating itself with existing.
Well, what do you need streamers for then?
Excuse
what do you
me?
need? What do you need streamers for then? If you're just making the canvassing houses, Brianna has already got money. Destiny's got money. Just take donations. Why are these streamers involved with PV?
Because that's where the canvassers come from.
Yeah, so it's recruiting, right? It's about recruiting. Yeah. You just said it wasn't.
No, I said that is not
PV's function.
But you did. You did say it's PV's function. You just said it's PV's function.
Don't be a pedant and try to track the entire concept.
Okay. Start from the beginning. Let's redo this, okay?
So the streamer's responsibility, insofar as I can tell, is to create a collaboration of multiple streamers who together form a community of people who are interested in politics. And from that community, to recruit canvassers for PV.
Okay, so the streamers who are being paid by PV, who therefore are PV, are responsible for recruiting. So PV's job is recruiting.
Okay. Now it has a
different job that it needs to feed that input into. That PV is more responsible for personally.
Okay.
That is already having
connections to mainstream electoral institutions that have software connections, phone banks, political infrastructure, governors, city councilmen, all that bullshit, and to take the recruits and deploy them in the electoral system so that they have an effect that actually determines elections.
Okay, but you already had Vosh plugging PV. You already had Destiny plugging PV. You already have a bunch of streamers who are suggesting PV as a place to get involved. Why do you need the streamers themselves involved as part of your branding?
For recruitment. Didn't we just say this?
Well, obviously for recruitment, but they were already recruiting for you. These are people who are already encouraging their audiences to vote Biden and to go canvass with PV. Why do you need the figures themselves with PV branding on them? Why do you need them specifically involved? Why do you need the horse lollycock guy? Why do you need the rape with a shovel guy? Why do you need why do you want these people directly? Why do you want the reputations of these people on PV?
Because 70% of the people who showed up to Cincinnati showed up because the rape with a shovel guy was there.
But the rape with a shovel guy would have gone by himself anyways.
No, he wouldn't have.
But he does though. Stephen actually, to his credit, Stephen actually goes to these canvassing events.
Yeah, what was the name of the city of his other canvassing event?
I can't remember.
Was it Georgia? The one that I was talking about?
What was it? Sure.
Yeah.
What does that matter? What?
Well, I'm getting to it. I'm just being an asshole about it. What happened in fucking Georgia was PV wasn't there. They ran the event by himself. Stephen was personally defrauded of thousands of dollars. They didn't have the sheets in order to go knock on doors or call people. And as a result, I'm sure that they were able to figure it out, relatively speaking. But I think it was a logistics nightmare that gave Stephen a migraine on top of the drama that he already did.
Yeah, so you've outlined a very good logistical function per PV. What you still haven't done is justify why PV specifically needs to have an official affiliation with streamer personalities.
I think you should talk to Sam about this,
not me.
I already told you it's for recruiting. You don't
honestly like recruiting anyways.
Okay, I do feel like we're looping a bit, and also people are getting a bit sick of the political bullshit. Okay, but I don't know. Suddenly, could you speak to this guy on your stream? That might be good content for you. I don't know.
Well, I think we were going to later already. I saw this was happening, so I wanted to jump in. No, are you telling me to fuck off? It's totally fine.
No. Listen, mate. Listen. People want to get back to the drama. Any more takes on Brianna Wu?
Yeah, Connor. She lied multiple times on that stream about having about not saying that she had credentials that she doesn't have. Like you caught that, right? Like we have her in text and in audio saying that she finished a degree, that she has a degree, using that in arguments. Like you caught that. Like Brianna just flat out lied.
So,
like in front of you.
Okay, so what I would need in order to say it's a lie, right? Yeah. I would need the original, and I'm sure Kuihman has this on standby, by the way.
I have it on standby, as a matter of fact. I can put it into the group chat. Would you like to see it right now?
Sure. So
sweet.
The statement. So I would like to see the statement, and I would like to see if it's in audio or text format, right?
Well, she said, well, hang on. She said in the debate you had with Kuihman that she had never made false claims about her credentials. That was in that debate. It was just watched here. So if anybody wants to confirm, I think you should be able to just rewind.
So what I would say to, this is Brianna. Brianna's a friend. So what I would say to Brianna, this is what I told her this morning, this is what I'll tell her again, is that when you say things like, well, I was on drugs at the time, I was fighting with my family, I was being disowned, I was homeless, that was 10 years ago, all that kind of stuff. It kind of becomes this like ethereal, miasmic past in which people can't really nail down what was said, when, where, why, and how.
She lived rent-free somewhere and received $200,000 from her parents. She was not homeless.
Okay.
That's comical. So, I'm sorry. That's a laughable statement, Connor.
Okay.
You should be offended by this as somebody who actually had to work for a living.
Okay. As somebody who had to work for a living, I can actually claim some level of poverty at some points in my college career, because despite having the GI Bill and despite my parents being well off, my parents didn't pay for my education. The GI Bill was not enough to pay my bills. And so I was literally taking out a payday lending service for 6 months at 500% interest, because it was either that or get evicted.
And I believe you. Brianna has never experienced this in her life. This is not an experience Brianna has.
So hold on though. So my point is, if I want to claim, as a matter of fact, one of Chud's thing that made me, fall in love with him, in a platonic way, was when he was talking about how he was so broke, he couldn't eat meat. He could only eat carbs, because real brokies fucking know what it's like to sacrifice protein in order to just get carbs in order to survive, right? So the point is, I could trot out these things like, oh, poor fucking me. But if you look into my history, my parents are actually relatively well-to-do. I currently live in a decent city. My kids go to a decent school. It's a public school, but it's
okay. But why are we talking about this, Connor? We're talking about this, Connor, because we're talking about this, Connor, because she's bringing up her tale. She's bringing up her tale of woe in order to justify lying about her credentials, lying about X, Y, and Z. Because it's just in the fog of trauma. But that doesn't wash. She had more resources and more protections and more help at her disposal than anyone you know.
Okay. So what I would recommend to Brianna as a friend is making
She's not your friend. She's not your friend, Connor. She threw you under the bus. You look like an idiot right now because you're defending her because she convinced you to at your cost.
Guess what? Chud and Kuihman were sweeping for me 10 minutes ago. They're my friends now. They're coming down with me. And guess what? We're being friendly right now. You're coming down with me too. We're best friends. We're road dogs. So anyway,
I'm going to stand on top of you for as long as you'll float.
Oh my God. Well,
I'm going to grab your belt and drag you down with me. So anyway,
wear a belt.
Oh, can we stick to... Okay.
So
go.
So as a internet friend, I would encourage Brianna to narrativize her past, to explain the who, what, when, where, why, and how of each specific moment, own the bullshit, and then say what is true, and then move forward with what is true.
Why do you think she hasn't done that already, Connor?
If I had to guess, presuming that everything that you guys are saying is correct, it's because she's probably been alive in the political realm, in which like hyperbole and framing and public perception.
You don't think it's because
important.
she managed to turn herself into the star of a massive controversy only by obfuscating and muddling facts again and again and again to escape being pinned down on anything, and only now, after a decade, has she actually been pushed to her face in public on a lot of these details? Do you not think maybe that might be the problem, Connor?
Well, even if that were the case, President Sunday and I are both cultural Christians, right? So we believe in the principles of atonement and mercy and forgiveness and walking with God,
yeah,
and divine judgment. So if Brianna were to own her shit and to come up with a narrative that made sense, and to chronologize everything, and to atone for her sins, and to basically walk with God going forward, so to speak, even if you don't believe in a personal God, then I wouldn't have any fucking problems with what she's doing. As a matter of fact, I kind of like the shifts that I see in her. But obviously you have to root this on a solid foundation or it does fall apart.
Yeah, you kind of have to die to be born again, right? That's the whole thing. So the problem with Brianna is that she hasn't actually accepted responsibility for any of this. She's just kind of hoping if she plays nice now, that her friends will sweep for her as they're doing here. Beg your pardon?
You're saying
metaphorically, we're talking about Christianity here.
God.
Well, in this case, Kuihman is taking on the role of the Jews. You know, he's judging. You know, he's taking on the role of Pontius Pilate. And so Pontius Pilate has rendered his verdict, and now it's up to Brianna on whether or not she, she dies and is resurrected. Thank you for playing your role as the Jews, Kuihman. I appreciate it.
It's every day of my life.
And actually, you know what? Chud. You know what? Chud is the Romans because he's the man who's washing his hands of everything.
Dude, like, I'm just here to have a good time. You know, have a laugh.
Yeah, you're a Roman governor. You're a Roman governor judging Jesus. That's what's going on right now.
Based. That sounds fun. I like that.
Okay, Connor, how many other people do you know, even at like Destiny's level of politics, who have falsified credentials?
All of them.
It's a good answer, actually.
Okay, but wait. There's a difference between, like, you know... There's a difference between, like, making out a little, like, you know, referring to yourself in a little slightly better way, right? Like, you refer to yourself in a more advantageous way as a role or something like that, right? Like, you know, when I worked in sales, I may have referred to myself as, like, some sort of advisor or something to make myself sound a bit zhuzhier, right? But I never would have said, I've got a degree, because I don't have a degree. There's a difference between a little bit of spin to make yourself sound better and lying about a fact of the matter, i.e. having a degree.
Cool. So she needs to atone for her sins.
But do you acknowledge, though, that if she said she has a degree, then she was lying?
If in 2014 or whatever the fuck, and she said that, yes, I have a degree in XYZ ABC, and she did not achieve that, then of course, yeah, that's a lie.
Then she lied. Okay. So if she said as well that she never said she had a degree she didn't have, then that was also a lie.
Potentially, yeah.
Well, not potentially, sort of necessarily, right? Because if she's saying she never falsified her credentials, but she did, and we have proof of this, then that's definitionally a lie.
Well, then we're getting into grades of dishonesty. So, for instance, Chud brought up like being a little.
I'm not saying she's Satan. I'm just saying very simple concession. That was a lie. It was a
I never falsified my credentials.
Beg
so
pardon?
what I would need to see.
No, repeat that last thing. I didn't catch that.
That her saying that I never falsified my credentials or I never falsely stated my credentials. If she did so in the past and knowingly did so, then it would be a lie.
What if she did so yesterday?
Okay, what I would need to see in order to be able to just say
it to you.
Okay, and what I would need to see is I would need to see the 2014 or 2016 interview in which she claims credentials that she doesn't have. I would need to see the, the transcript or whatever that basically states something different. And then I would need to see basically her knowing that.
You would need to see her, her knowing what?
So the phrase, like, so for instance, yesterday you're saying like, I'm going
to quote you directly, okay? Bear with me a second. This will clarify things, all right? One thing I learned while getting my degree is that psychologically people often decide how they feel about and then arrange reality for the conception they wish to have. That's one. Number two, my degree is in journalism and political science. Yeah, she's referred like at multiple points to her degree. She said in a 2014 podcast that she went back to college and finished her degree in journalism.
That's also on her blog from about 2014 or 15 too. It's in 2015. Her blog said she had a degree.
2015. Well, there you go.
Anybody else now? So hold on. So this is where we hit a level of.
It was so prolific. It was on her Wikipedia.
You're gonna have to forgive me. You're gonna have to forgive me my next statement. Okay. This is where we're gonna hit like a level of pedantry that like at a certain point there will be facts that I will care about, and there are gonna be facts that I don't care about. So for instance,
just asking you if she lied.
Okay, and I am asking you to entertain me for a minute. So give me the statement again with the two things, the courses of study that she studied.
Political science and journalism.
Poli-sci and journalism. Okay, poli-sci and journalism.
Yeah, and then she went back to college in the later podcast to finish her degree in journalism, and then she became an investigative journalist. Was it investigative or was it journalist?
And journalism.
Yeah.
And by the way, if I was a lawyer, I could defend these statements, but I'm not going to. So journalism.
How do you know?
All right, poli-sci and journalism. So if, let's say that she took an undergraduate elective for 1 poli-sci credit, and so she has 3 credits, and she has 6 credits in journalism, right? Then at that point, I would view this as dishonesty.
Connor.
Because it's not Hold on,
yeah,
I'm not done.
Go on.
This is not representative of a rigorous course of education that shows any level of expertise in these 2 fields. However, I have an interdisciplinary bachelor's degree. It's something that was offered by my college. And what this is instead of 1 major and a minor, you can have 3 minors. So I actually have 3 minors. 1 is in business, 1 is in art, and 1 is in history. And I did that because I couldn't really...
But here's the difference. This is important. Here's the difference. You finish your degree. Connor, I finished my degree. Brianna is claiming my credential. I have a degree in political science. She's claiming she has my degree when she hasn't done the work.
Okay. So if she was at 90 to 100 credits and she had 12 or 10 credits or 9 credits in both of these
topics... If she didn't get a degree, she didn't get a degree. It's that simple, Connor.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah.
But you do if you're trying to establish that she wasn't lying. Now, you can say you don't care that she's lying, but was she lying?
If she said that she had a degree that she didn't have, then yeah, that's a lie.
Okay,
but
good.
And it becomes
good. So hang on. So very quickly, I just want to hammer this down. I just want to hammer this down. So if she said she had a degree that she didn't have, then she's lying. If she said afterwards that she never said she had a degree that she didn't have, then she's also lying if that first one is true.
Providing you have to... Okay, hold on. So I get what you're doing. I appreciate you walking it down.
I'm asking a yes or no question.
Dogged. Yeah, you are asking yes or no questions, but obviously...
I don't think it's a loaded one either. I think it's a very simple question.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why it's loaded, okay? So the reason why it's loaded is because I have staked a personal and professional relationship with Brianna Wu, right? So basically that means that I'm going to be giving her time, attention, I
think it means you have poor judgment, so my questioning you like this is unfair. But the question is still not loaded. It's very clear.
It's extreme. That was self-evident.
Beg your pardon?
I said I'm on a Chud Logic stream. That was self-evident.
Fair enough.
So, sorry, you were saying?
So I need to quickly interject one quick point. Food Shop sends her regards to you, Counterpoints, just to let you know.
Thanks, Food Shops. Please stop jerking off the lolly.
Okay, so anyway, come on. I think the point that's being made here, I think what President is trying to lead you down the line of is the fact that, you know, well, I'm going to tag on a bit of my own thoughts, but it feels like Brianna Wu never really truly accounts for anything and kind of slithers away from really hard, focused responsibility. Like, you know, there's easily things you could look back on and you realise it's a mistake, and you realise it's a mistake a long time ago, so you say, yeah, I fucked up and I shouldn't have done that. But even yesterday, there's excuses and reasoning. It's never just a simple, yeah, I fucked up, I was feeling whatever way about it, so I did that and I shouldn't have done that. And one more thing as well, I only recognised that happened, I think, when, what was it, Marley Yiannopoulos did a background check and found that out. So it was someone else exposing that made them have to say that, you know?
Okay. So I want to make this point, though, because I think that it needs to add color to the conversation. So Chud talked about how, you know, he used to be a salesperson. He might have referred to himself as like a senior account manager or some shit.
Yeah.
If there's 120 degrees of a bachelor's program and you have 90 to 110 or some shit like that, and you also have 10 or 12 credits in a related field, and in order to be considered like a minor, you have to have 15. I view that as a similar lie to the hyperbolizing of the title. So for me, that's not like an indictable
because, for
offense.
example, well, hang on, Connor. If she has the credits for her degree, she would get the credits for her degree. She would get a degree, right? Like this is not a person. This is not a person who's being forced to work at McDonald's in order to make ends meet. She could have done this. Why would you assume that she had all but just the last couple of credits that she needed? Which, by the way, wouldn't matter because she still wouldn't necessarily qualify for the degree.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing. I know people who have like 150 credits and they never got a bachelor's. They just took the classes that they wanted to take.
Yeah, but the reason why you would say you have a degree in a specific subfield is in order to say that you have expertise and qualifications to speak to that field. If she doesn't have the qualifications to do so, then that's a lie.
It's important to just I try to add on that, actually, because the whole point of Gamergate was initially about games journalism, right? So she injected herself under the premise of being
as a
journalism major, an investigative journalist. That was the point. That was the grift.
Yeah.
It's like if I interjected in COVID and I said, guys, I got a bachelor's, I know medicine. Or I got a master's, guys. Actually, that would be the analogy. I've got a master's degree in epidemiology or something.
This is a 3-1 at this point, okay? But I'm going to try my point anyway, because you've really annoyed me by using my example, okay? So, so say, for example, in sales of, like, I don't know, financial products, right? Calling yourself a senior account manager doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't say anything about what you can and can't do. It's just an exciting name for what you do. But if I was to say to someone, I'm qualified to advise you on what mortgage product to buy or what financial product to buy, I am suggesting to you that I have an experience and an expertise that I don't in order to get you to do something potentially or to influence you in some way. And that's what makes that wrong, because you don't actually have the qualification, rather than it just being, oh yeah, I'm a senior manager of accounts or whatever, right? There's a difference there between saying you've got a specific qualification.
The reason, the reason why I think this argument isn't as compelling to me is just because, like, we're talking about journalism, and I don't hold journalism or higher education in particularly high regard.
No. But the issue, Connor, the issue is not whether or not you think any of these fields mean anything. The issue is that she is lying to people in order to convince them that in their judgment they should trust what she says. That's pernicious. That doesn't matter. She could be claiming to be have a BA in astrology. It wouldn't change the fact that she is lying to people about her credentials to make them listen to her when they're making decisions that impact their lives.
Yeah, Connor, it's not about whether you care, right? The point is that these are things that people care about, and they do. Not everyone's going to look into the exact level of knowledge anyone has at any given time. So you use a degree as a shorthand. And if she's going around telling people who do care about degrees, who do care about that credibility, who do care about that reference, oh yeah, I've got this thing, and then they're making decisions based on that, that's a problem. She's deceived people. She's conned them, right?
As a close personal friend to Brianna Wu and cultural Christian, I would say that the only path forward is the Christian path, which is atonement and
eternal damnation,
forgiveness. Fuck off.
I just want you to recite the creed for me, okay? So very quickly, just 2 points. Very simple, okay? If she said she never falsified her credentials, that was a lie if we have proof that she falsified her credentials. Yes? If she falsified her credentials...
Now you're asking me to come up with, like, well,
yes
maybe
or no question.
Maybe she has trauma. Maybe she was on drugs.
No.
Maybe
because was she on drugs? Wait, hang on. Was she on drugs yesterday?
Not to my knowledge.
Good. Okay. So if she said in the past, and we have this in print and on audio recording, if she said in the past that she has credentials that she does not have, and if she said yesterday that she never said she has no credentials that she doesn't have, then this was a lie. She lied, yes?
If you will caveat it with Chud's analogy, sure.
Just yes or no, Connor.
Is it a white lie or a lie?
I don't care. It's a lie. If she had credentials, if she falsified her credentials in the past, she stated, I have a degree that she does not have. And then if she said yesterday, I never said I have a degree that I do not have, then that latter statement would be a lie. Yes?
Sure.
I want to hear with some gusto. Would that be a lie?
Oh my God.
Oh, you're not getting it Sunday. This is as close as you get. This is as close as you get. Move to your next point.
He said sure. Well, that's about it though, Connor. Like your friend lied. You admit this. Are you going to now interrogate this and like make sure that this wasn't the case, so you can continue to be friends with this person? Or are you going to endorse someone who's lying in public?
No, this is like so. For instance, I think y'all also need to get a thing of scale. So if somebody walks up to me and they say, "Brianna, your friend, in 2014 in an interview with a magazine said that she had a degree. And then I go to Brianna and I say, do you have a degree? And she says, no, I have about 95 credits and I have about 10 credits of that study. I exaggerated it because I was running for Congress and I was under pressure at the time in order to be more credentialed so I could gain more clout and influence.
That's actually really serious. Like, I mean, she was trying to defraud basically your country, right, Connor? Defraud. She was saying to her country, hey, put me in a position of power. I have X, Y, and Z credentials. But she lied.
No. I have to push back on this because this is the thing about it. I guarantee you, Dick Cheney has all his credentials.
You're trying to push back against the hydraulic press. It's not happening.
Yes, it is.
This is a losing position, Connor. You can't do this.
I don't care. Listen to me. Okay? Listen to me. I've been listening to y'all very politely. I want you to listen to me. There are plenty of people who have the correct credentials, who are the most malevolent sacks of shit on the fucking planet, who have killed people or gotten people killed as a result of their lies, and they made millions or billions of dollars off of that. Okay,
and that could have been Brianna. That could have been Brianna, and the difference would have been is that Brianna, in addition, would have lied about her credentials.
Based off of what you know about Brianna, is she going to order the next trans genocide or the next invasion of Iraq?
Directionally,
time, yeah.
Thank you guys. Okay, what I would say is I have observed other things about Brianna's character that I believe she would not intentionally hurt or kill people for her own ego.
But we've also observed Brianna's character. We know that she will lie. So what if, Connor, just hypothetically speaking, what if your impression of her is bullshit and she's been, yanking your chain too?
Then we will all learn together over the next few years.
I don't think we will. I think we're gonna be repeating this conversation forever.
I mean, I think it's just what it comes down to, Connor, is you're happy to engage in opportunism, right? That's what it sounds like to me.
In what way?
Well, in that you're willing to look the other way for the sake of political power and political, connections and stuff.
Okay. I'm looking up opportunism as a definition.
I have to take an important call. Chud, thanks for having me on. Connor, if you still want to talk later, be my guest.
Sure.
I'll forgive you if you don't want to, but cheerio.
No, we can do it sometime.
And Kuihman, start judging people by the content of their character and not by their external characteristics, okay?
Keep being racist, Kuihman.
Yo, Kuihman, he just owned you so hard. You do that. You do look at trans people and mean about them. Oh my goodness.
Okay, hold on. So let me read this to you. It's very short. The taking of opportunities as and when they arise, regardless of planning or principle. I would say I take opportunities as they arise, but I do have planning and principle.
Okay, well, listen, after Cool Sunday, honestly, I feel like I've just been through it. I don't know. Kuihman, what have you got to say for yourself, mate? You've been quiet for a long time. Come on, what's up?
I've got nothing. I don't have any heat at the moment, so that's why I was quiet. I shed a little bit of stride here and there.
Okay.
Well, wait. I guess, Connor, you don't think it's fucking crazy that at any time you press Brianna, she brings up trauma or Gamergate? You don't think that's fucking crazy?
She's a former progressive, so in my experience, that's in line with what I understand progressives to be.
You think every progressive, anytime you push them on anything, they just talk about their trauma?
Yeah.
Okay, you're living in some kind of fantasy TikTok cartoon world that doesn't really exist. That's just not how
I exist in the same world that everybody else does.
Most people operate like most people, regardless of political persuasion, operate generally in conversations in life in a pretty similar way. There's more similar between us than different. And most people, when you press them on something bad they've done, their first response is not, I was so traumatized at the time. There was these people on the internet being mean to me. You just don't understand. I can't get any of the details right. That's not how most people respond. That's not how most progressives respond. That's not true.
A lot of people use their individual, real quick before you go. I think a lot of people use their histories and their trials and tribulations as rationales for why they behaved the way that they did at the time. Even if they agree that it was bad.
But you'd say that's a negative behavior.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Omnipooner, aka Clit Hitler. How are you?
I just brought Omnipooner on because I believe you wanted to say your piece about this Brianna Wu thing, right?
Yeah. There's this like weird narrative that I don't think any of y'all are pushing it or anything, but it's more on Brianna's side that I'm like somehow mad that she called me like a girl in DMs or some shit. I've never felt threatened by her. The gangster shit, I take it as a threat, but I don't think she's smart enough to actually carry out an actual threat on me. So I wasn't threatened by that either. My whole point from the very beginning has been that some people, some trans women will be biased against trans men and treat us like women. That has been like literally my whole point from the beginning. And the fact that they prove me right and then try to make me sound like a woman for pointing it out is just profoundly retarded to me. So I'm not offended. I don't feel threatened. She can call me whatever she wants. I literally have a slur in my name. I don't care. But this constant like,
sentence and welcome to the better gender.
Thank you. I also have never stalked her. I don't know where that came from. She inserted herself into the entire thing with me. So I have no idea why she was telling Kuihman that I was stalking her. I never have. Do you have any idea where that might have come from?
I don't, but can you agree that it's almost validating in the opposite direction to know that Brianna Wu is in a Discord call with other trans gals and cis gals talking shit about people? Isn't that incredibly validating that that's a female-coded behavior?
Is it female-coded? Because I feel like threatening people in DMs is not very womanly, but calling people a girl also. Usually when people call you like a pussy or something like that, it's considered like a misogynistic thing. Wouldn't you agree? Like using girl as an insult is kind of misogynistic, right? Is that like womanly behavior?
Well, I want her to be misogynistic, so.
I mean, again, listen.
I agree it's misogynistic, no. And also I think that's good.
I don't get this whole thing about like, oh, isn't it validating that progressives treat trans men like shit because they treat regular men like shit? I don't get what's the logic behind that. Is that like a justification or what is it like?
It was mostly a joke. Have you ever seen the cartoon where it's like a giraffe and a dog walking down the street and there's a guy holding a sign and it's trans women aren't women, and then the dog walks up and he's like, hey, if my girlfriend isn't a real woman, then why is she such a cunt?
I've never seen that. Listen, I didn't want to make this about trans stuff because I don't want to.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say actually, Connie, you don't think it's concerning that your co-host yesterday was accusing someone of stalking with seemingly no evidence?
Yeah.
If Omnipooner / Clit Hitler and Brianna got into internet hunting, like where they're talking shit to each other in various DMs.
No. I didn't talk any shit to her at all until she showed up in my replies, and then somehow decided this was important enough to take it to DMs, and then do her really quirky little Dr. Dre line.
Also, stalking is like quite a specific claim. It's a bit like when someone says like they're receiving like all these death threats and their life's in danger, and then their life's not in danger. It's like someone says stalking, and then it turns out they just commented on a couple of tweets. It's like, okay. Or so you kind of lied then. That was like a total misrepresentation to the point of it not being accurate. It's a lie.
I won't be losing sleep over this.
You just don't care about it. Have you never had a position on like false accusations before? You don't take a position on this?
Okay.
Connor, if I just in passing said, oh yeah, Connor, he I think he like raped somebody at some point, or I'm pretty sure that guy's a pedophile. Would you have a problem with that, just in passing, making like accusations like that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Chud's chat was doing that pretty much for the past like 2 hours, and I had to deal with that. So no, I don't take that particularly seriously. Well, mostly because I didn't rape or kill or whatever I'm being accused of.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if this is like kind of a soy argument to make or whatever, but she's got like a pretty decent sized platform. I really don't. So if somebody's calling me a stalker, it's making me sound like an obsessive freak that has been like apparently following her for months. Don't you think that's like a bit of an issue? Because like, unless me knowing Chud is the only reason I can even say something like this, you know, and knowing like Kuihman and stuff, you know. It's if I didn't know these people, I wouldn't even be on here.
I think the easiest way, because I've dealt with this on different conversations, is when somebody says, "Oh, you're harassing me, you're stalking me, whatever," then you just dip the fuck out, because then there's nothing to complain about. If you start making it your life's mission to say, they accused me without, they accused me of harassment or stalking without any evidence, but then you constantly show up in replies or DMs or shows or whatever in order to talk about it, then at some point that becomes the thing that you're claiming it's not. Like, we should all have bigger problems than this.
So it's just like not that serious that somebody just makes accusations? I'm confused.
I will DM Brianna and I will say, Klittler and Kuihman are both upset that you said that they were stalking you. So unless they are DMing you,
just can't do it, can it? It can't just be, oh, Brianna, is there any evidence for stalking claim? It's, oh, these people are just so upset over this. They're just so upset. They're losing sleep over it. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too, because like Brianna consistently has like characterized me as like crying and screaming and like, shitting my pants over this, and I'm really just pointing out that she's doing the very thing that she said wasn't happening, and somehow this makes me like a super upset person. But I find it pretty reasonable to be upset when somebody publicly calls me an obsessed stalker.
Okay, I'll tell Brianna. No.
I mean, sure. She's got me blocked and everything, so.
Okay, someone else wants to hop on. I don't know how much more energy we've got here.
The end of the gauntlet, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got probably 10 more minutes, and then I do have to finish 2 tasks at work.
Yep, sure. Wait, hang on. Oh. Yeah, tell Jstlk, for some reason we're not friends on Discord. Tell Jstlk to accept my friend request and I'll put him in.
See, Chud, my glazing is not disingenuous. I'm taking time out of my workday to talk to you.
Listen, look, obviously, okay, there's lots of people that don't like you in my community. I find you frustrating, but I don't have any ill will or bad blood towards you, of course.
Well, DK says that you hate me as much as he hates me, and that hurt my feelings.
Look, DK says a lot of things, okay? Let's just say his comments are not representative of Chud Logic Media, okay?
Okay, well, I'm a sensitive guy.
Okay.
When people say like, oh, hey, we have like a more moderate position in public and then in private, does that include saying to somebody, I've never seen a trans woman call a trans man a woman, and then going and doing that in DMs? Would you say that's like, like the moderate position versus the radical one, or like where does that stand? Where do you stand on that kind of thing?
Sorry, you're gonna have to say
that's
it again.
Pretty radical. So if somebody like tells me I've never seen a trans woman call a trans man a woman, and then in DMs this trans woman calls me a woman or girl, do you think that's like, the radical politics versus like the moderate one?
Because you guys got into an internet fight? Is that what we're talking about? She's being catty and bitchy because you guys got into an internet fight?
It's a very simple question. Is that like a radical thing or not? Like, is that, do you guys do that, or,
I
say the more moderate thing in public?
People that talk shit about people on the internet. I don't.
I think you're see, this happens every single fucking time. You guys like see a hypocrisy or like a contradiction, and then you say, I don't know why you're upset about this. I'm not upset. I'm pointing out the contradiction. You constantly ignoring the contradictions are what make people upset.
Okay. Brianna's a bitch. I got it. She's mean. Got it.
You're doing it again, bro.
Okay.
Do you not see it at all?
Wait. So Brianna Wu said, hold on. So let me repeat back the argument to you. So Brianna Wu said in public that she has never seen a trans man called a woman by trans people in order to intentionally misgender or upset them. But then in a group chat with her friends, she said that you were acting like a girl and she doesn't give a fuck and fuck you.
You added on the like in order to upset them or anything. It has nothing to do with like the intention. It's just the calling somebody something they're not as like an insult or whatever, and then doing it after like openly denying that she's never seen that happen.
Well,
like I don't know. I mean, this is like concerning for a professional organizer.
This is a private DM that got leaked. I say all sorts of wild shit. I say the N word in private. I say the K word in private. I refer to Kuihman as other K words all the time.
I mean, congratulations, I guess. Anyway, I think I've made my point. Thank you, Chud, for having me on and stuff.
All right,
do you want me to head out or like
hang around if you want? I don't know what Jstlk's got to say.
Okay, cool.
I just wanted to ask Connor how he differentiates like defending Brianna here and like his position on Brianna versus all the people who defended Keffals. Because I just see like the exact same lying patterns going on here that happened with Keffals outside of maybe the GoFundMe fraud.
I mean, I think the GoFundMe fraud's pretty big.
It is. I don't think Keffals would be a good person even if she didn't do the fraud.
Let me try to eliminate the GoFundMe fraud from my mind and see if I think that Brianna Wu is comparable to Keffals. In what way do you think that Brianna Wu is comparable to Keffals? In bad behavior.
She will lie, she will go after people, and then when she's on the back foot, every time one of her negative behaviors is brought up, she will defend it completely until there's proof that she can't defend against, and then she'll go, "Oh, I'm actually just traumatized. I don't really remember. I don't really know." But when she thought she had a move, when she thought she had an angle to defend herself, she knew for sure. She was 100% certain that she was safe, right? But as soon as something's brought up, like Kuihman saying, "Oh, on this podcast, you said you had this collegiate degree, or you said you had this degree directly." She's like, "Oh, well, you know what? Like, I was kind of traumatized back then. I don't know what I got for courses. It suddenly became fuzzy." But before that, she was like, "Oh, you had all these defamatory claims," kind of insinuating that there'd be a lawsuit. So she's willing to defend completely, and then as soon as some fact is brought up from her past, she immediately falls back to trauma or whatever. And I think Keffals does that all the time as well.
Okay. So when I was actually talking about this to my wife earlier today. I think that you're just gonna have to indulge me, okay? Everybody indulge me, do some soy nods in chat. I think I come from a pretty privileged background, meaning that I've always been cis, I've always been straight, I've always been white, I've always been male. I've always been relatively physically capable. As a result, telling the truth not only was culturally inculcated in me and my parents, but I was also rewarded for it throughout my entire history. I think that when it comes to LGBTQIA plus folk, they learn different lessons from telling the truth. Like, you can lose money.
Homosexuals lie. Say it how it is.
Yes, the gays lie in order to survive. Okay. Now, that being said, nobody likes being a liar. Nobody likes to lie. Nobody likes being caught in lies, for fucking sure. But at the same time, if you're operating off of this like moral reward system, it might take a evolution in your perspective and morality in order to change. So as Brianna's friend, I would say, this is a brand new day. Cut the shit. Come up with a narrative. Chronologize it. Give your justifications for what you did, when you did it, and then from here, go forth and sin no more. That would be my statement to my friend.
Okay, I mean, if you say that on your end,
I can't handle the trans people just lie thing. I can't process that. I'm sorry.
Well, it makes sense when you think about it, doesn't it?
I mean, that does actually technically defend both Keffals and Brianna Wu, but I'm give me a second. I'm shell shocked. I'll recover. Go ahead. Anyone else?
See, this is why I love being racist and transphobic and homophobic in ways that actually push, progressive talking points. It's great. I get to use my skills.
Super base.
Well, hey, I was gonna listen. Sorry, who's that?
I was just gonna say, if you're requesting everybody else to build a narrative and stuff, I think the least you can do is not sweep for somebody after like the narrative comes out. That's all I've got to say.
Sure. Again, a lot of people have been using sweep today. Can you articulate the defenses that I've made on Brianna's behalf that you object to?
Yeah, when people bring up issues, you minimize them every single time, and then like try to reword them to make them not sound as bad. I think is like pretty bad faith. If you're telling everybody else what to do when it comes to criticizing Brianna, at least the least you can do is take the criticism seriously and not just always brush them off.
You are right that I did that to you. I agree.
You did that like pretty much in the entire conversation with Kuihman, in my opinion. But
Do you have an example besides with you?
Not at the moment, man. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to real quick. I'm gonna try to articulate this for you really quickly how I see it, Connor. This happens with Hassan Piker all of the time when somebody asks him about Hamas. Is instead of dealing with when they're asking about October 7th, was it like really bad? Hassan always feels the need to talk about the conditions in Palestine before actually saying October 7th was a terrorist attack. And that is what makes people feel like he's sweeping. If you could just start with the criticism, evaluate it like, obviously no civilians deserve to die, blah, 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 blah. And then go to saying like, oh, but also this didn't happen in a vacuum. There are problems in Palestine. And then finish with the criticism. That would clear people's minds a lot, right? But it feels like, and I don't have a specific example for you, but it feels like you go hard on defending and then you accept the criticism a little bit. And that inverse is like, I think that fucks with people and how they interpret like what your goal is. Because it seems like your primary goal is to defend Brianna and then the secondary goal is the truth.
Is this me or Brianna?
Right. And this is you. I think when you go to defend Brianna is like defending is your primary goal. And then the truth is your secondary goal. And that's what bothers people.
Okay. Well, then the thing that I would encourage people to do is obviously we're thinking in relational dynamics. I like Brianna. I think she's a good gal. I want to see her succeed. I want to see her do well. I want to see our show succeed. I want to see us do well. So I will defend her, but I'm also not going to lie in order to do so. So if you're saying it's sweep, 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 defense, 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 but then it's an acknowledgement of a truth or a criticism, I would say that in my sweeping, in order for me to like take this as like criticism that I'm going to take to heart, I would need to hear something that I was lying about in my defense. Or something that I'm being like hypocritical on.
I wasn't even accusing you of lying. I wasn't even accusing you of lying. I was saying that somebody has like a valid criticism, and instead of initially engaging with that valid criticism, you start defending. Like you start by defending. You don't accept that it's true, or at least this is what I recall. So you could. I don't have specific examples for you.
Okay, so let's be frank too. So let's say that I'm still going to maintain a relationship with Brianna. She's undergoing surgery now. Godspeed. She's going to be back in a few weeks. I want to continue to do the show with her. I think that we have really good banter. I think we have like a good dynamic, and I think we do a good show. So I want her back. I want a relationship. I want us to remain professional associates. However, I'm not going to defend things that I can't defend. So yeah, I'm going to defend my professional associate and friend as far as I can within my principles and my understanding of the truth. So for instance, when Kuihman or President Sunday press, they're like, she was lying yesterday. You 100% know that she was lying yesterday. She's a bad person. You need to own the fact that she's fucking terrible, right? That's basically what they were doing. And I said, I need to see the claim. I need to see the transcript. I need to see the contradictory thing. And I need to talk to Brianna in order to basically like, I don't know, she has a fucking brain aneurysm or CTE, or I was on drugs at the time, or I had trauma or something like that. Then the reason why I leave that caveat is because I do think Brianna is my friend. And so I want her to be able to explain the situation to me. And then I want her to go forth and sin no more. So I'm leaving that bit of grace because I think it's important. I think it's important in any relationship.
Okay, then I guess the only question from there is, once there is like bad or unforgivable behavior, how do you detect that? How do you stop giving the grace or charity? Like, I'm guessing it's going to have to be like research on your end, going through all of these claims and seeing what she's actually lying about. But I'm guessing I guess I'm asking, when are you going to do that? Like, when is that going to happen?
Well, so I think that I don't care if people present me with previous information. Like I'm sure Kuihman. Sorry, 1 second. Boss is wondering why I haven't been doing a task for the past 30 minutes. The thing. Okay, so when it comes to, I know a lot of people aren't going to give a flying fuck about this, but I do. So when it comes to like Christian morality, you can atone for your sins on the last day, but right before you're about to die, or you can atone when you're fucking 2 years old, right? You can atone for sin at any point, and you're entitled to mercy and forgiveness at any point. But the key in that system is that you don't intentionally continue to do the bad things that you did before. You have to be like reborn within the moral system, right?
So while I'm not a literalist Christian, if let's say Brianna goes on a 3-week hiatus for her surgery, she recovers. She writes out a narrative of all the things that she did in the past. He summarizes from her perspective why she did what she did. And then going forward, like, we don't have these things where she's, being absolutely like malicious. Then at that point, for me, I don't give a flying fuck about it, because that's the past. And she's atoned.
Okay. And then I guess I would just say, I don't know if you agree, but to me, last night, and specifically her muting Kuihman, her threatening to sue Kuihman, all of this shit, I think that was absolutely the same pattern of behavior I would be looking to see change. So I think she hasn't stopped up until this point. We can see going forward, but it absolutely hasn't stopped up until this point, in my opinion.
Part of the reason, so the hit piece that Kuihman did dropped, and Brianna was kind of like, I don't know if I should show up. That's kind of bad faith and shitty or whatever. And I was like, no, like, he's abrasive and he's an autistic asshole. But the reason why we should go is because basically, if you own your shit against autistic assholes and they can't draw blood from you, then you basically know that, like, you've had a strong showing or whatever. So I kind of encourage the interaction regardless. And the truth is, like, taking an L, we have all taken L's in public before, I think, right? Everybody here, probably because we've been on the internet long enough to do so. It's not whether or not you take L's, it's how you act afterwards, right? So if you continue the bad behavior, if you cope, if you seethe, if you all that shit, that's the problem. Whereas if you do modify your behavior, if you become a better debater or a better person, then that's what we're looking for.
I would agree with you. I just have seen no evidence that that's going to happen. So that's why I'm concerned, and why I think the criticism is important to make.
Okay. Well, y'all can talk to me again in 6 months, and I can say I told you so, or you guys can say you told me so.
Wait, did your mic just turn you gay? Why are you lisping now?
Yeah, it went on to speakerphone.
Real voice.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, well, we can start to wrap things up, because it's been hours at this point, and I think we've really hashed this out as much as we can.
Can you milk it?
Yeah, well, listen, thanks for everyone for coming on, okay? I think we'll wrap it up there, unless anyone's got any final thoughts.
No,
ladies,
thanks for having me on.
Gentlemen.
Pleasure.
All right.
See you guys later.
Before you dip,
cheers. Bye-bye.
Any Chud Logic in Queemansburgs are welcome to challenge me personally. So
there we go.
Feel free to do
content. So. Okay, catch you there. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Fucking hell, man. That was a classic, wasn't it? That was a classic little combo. That was good. I like that.